is WBBM News Radio 78, Chicago. WBBM time, 1:30.
The great Leroy Kelly, who is the league leader in yards gained and in scoring. 1,239 yards over the ground, 20 touchdowns has Leroy Kelly scored. The young man who came in to take over for the great Jimmy Brown, who played in his shadows for many years, and who's turned out to be, as he said earlier, somebody in the club will step in and do the job, never realizing perhaps that he himself would be the one to do it, and what a job he's done. In addition to Kelly, split end Paul Warfield, the leading receiver with 50 catches for 1,067 yards and 12 touchdowns. He, too, will make his presence felt here this afternoon. Defensive back, Ben Davis, young speedster from Defiance University in Ohio. 8 interceptions on the year. Speedy ball carrier, Ernie Green. Solid tight end, Milt Morris, just to mention some who will perform here for the Browns here today. And for Baltimore, of course, you got to start with Earl Morrall at quarterback. The most valuable player in the league, the leading passer in the league. 182 out of 317 for 2,909 yards and 26 touchdowns. You got to look for the wide receiver, Willie Richardson, who thrilled the crowd in Baltimore last week with a sensational catch at the 3-yard line that set it up for the go-ahead touchdown for Baltimore at that time. Willie on the season with 37 catches for 698 yards and 8 touchdowns. And when you look at Baltimore stars, you look again at guys like tight end John Mackey. 45 out of 645 catches, for 644 yards, 5 touchdowns. And probably you can get not any argument around the league that he's the best tight end in football today. And then you go to that defensive line of Baltimore, which has been sensational all year long. Big Bubba Smith, Billy Ray Smith, Freddie Miller, Ordell Brazy. And a defensive backfield, the likes of which will not be seen too many times around the league. They're all in one lump sum. Bobby Boyd, Lenny Lyles, Jerry Logan, Richie Boak. Just some of the players that you'll see here in action for both of these great football teams as they wind up here in the championship game in Cleveland's Municipal Stadium on the shores of Lake Erie, with the wind blowing in at about 20 miles an hour and exceedingly cold. Both of these clubs have the necessary tools for victory here today. And now we shall see, of course, which uses the tools most effectively. Nothing will be spared, nothing will be saved for later. There is no such thing. Win they must today. And if it takes more than that, the regular 4 periods to do it, then they'll go to sudden death. The first to score wins. The team scored against sudden death. Down on the field, let's pick up this fine musical group, the Caballeros. Of our national anthem by the choir of the Caballeros, one of the outstanding musical groups in the area here, preceding this ball game. The Cleveland Browns have won the toss and will receive to get the ball game underway. And this National Football League Championship game is being carried across the nation by the CBS Radio Network and to our men in uniform around the world by the Armed Forces Radio Service, and all of us here in the booth join in wishing all of them a happy holiday season. May they have a bright and a peaceful new year, and may they come back to their families just as quickly as possible. And we'll be back with the opening kickoff shortly. Back here at Municipal Stadium in Cleveland, this is Bob Reynolds along with Andy Musser, and as you can hear from the reaction of this highly partisan crowd in Cleveland, the Baltimore Colts defensive unit is being introduced to the crowd. At left end, number 78, Bubba Smith, 6'7", 295-pound, 2-year veteran in the league from Michigan State. At left tackle, Billy Ray Smith, 6'4", 250, 10-year veteran from Arkansas. At right tackle, Fred Miller, 6'3", 256-year veteran from LSU. And at right end, the veteran Ordell Brazy, number 81, 12-year veteran from South Dakota. The linebackers, Mike Curtis, number 32 from Duke University, who went 60 yards with a fumble recovery in the playoff game last week. In the middle, number 53, Denny Garbax from LSU. And on the right side, number 66, the 12-year veteran from UCLA, Don Shinnick. At the left cornerback spot, the veteran Bob Boyd, 9 years in this league, who played college ball in Oklahoma. At the right cornerback spot, number 43, Lenny Lyles from Louisville. And at left safety, number 20, Jerry Logan from West Texas State. And at the right safety spot, Ricky Vogt, number 21 from the University of Michigan. So that is the defensive starting lineup for the Baltimore Colts, introduced before this crowd here. And now we are getting the introduction of the offensive unit of the Cleveland Browns. And leading the way out, center Fred Hoagland, number 54, from Pittsburgh. Right behind him, Gene Hickerson, number 66. Number 65 is John Demery. John Demery, the youngster from LSU. 66, Gene Hickerson at right guard from Mississippi, an 11-year veteran. Number 77 is Dick Chaprath, the left tackle from Ohio State, a 10-year veteran. Number 73, Monty Clark, 10-year veteran from Southern California. At the tight end spot, Milt Moran's number 89 just been introduced. And at the split end, number 42, Paul Warfield. At the flanker, number 86, Gary Collins, 7-year veteran from Maryland. In the backfield, the great Leroy Kelly, number 44, introduced, 5-year veteran from Oregon State. Charlie Haraway will make the start at fullback, number 31. And the last was by far the least, the excellent quarterback of the Browns, number 16, Bill Nelson, who came, as you know, here to Cleveland in that trade from Pittsburgh last May. So there you have the offensive lineup of the Cleveland Browns, introduced to the crowd, the defensive lineup of the Baltimore Colts. The officials for today's game, working this championship game, Harry Brubaker is the referee, Lou Palazzi the umpire, Bruce Alford, the head linesman, Ralph Vandenberg, the back judge, Fritz Draft is the field judge, and they have a couple of alternates on hand in case something happens to one of the officials. Bernie Ullman is here along with Frank Sinkowitz, and there's a very familiar name for you. Remember, as we told you, if this thing should go into the end of 4 periods of play and still be tied, the Cubs then go to sudden death. And under that sudden death rule, the team that scores first during the overtime is the winner. The game automatically ended on any score, including a safety, or when a score is awarded by the referee, which you would never see, I don't believe, for what the rules call a palpably unfair act. At the end of the regulation playing time, the ref tosses the coin to the center of the field, and the visiting team captain is allowed to call it. And after 3 minutes, in which they'll take a little rest, after the regular game, they play for 15-minute periods. They have a 2-minute intermission between them. And the first one scoring wins it. Right now, down in the center of the field, the officials are meeting with the captains. Number 26, Reese Morrison, acting as one of the captains, along with Jim Houston for the Cleveland Browns. Lenny Lyles, the acting captain for Baltimore, along with Preston Pearson, who had the honor of representing the Baltimore Colts as they came out for the ceremonial coin toss, which was done earlier officially. And as we mentioned, Cleveland won the toss and will receive. And the Baltimore Colts will be in there to kick off. Lou Michaels, the big left-footed guy who does the kicking, will kick off for the Baltimore Colts, who have their kickoff team in there. The Cleveland Browns in their receiving position, sending Reese Morrison deep. Along with Ben Davis. And this ball game for the championship is just about ready to get underway. And here to bring you the action play-by-play in the first half, our colleague WCAU's Andy Musser.
Thank you very much, Bob Reynolds, and hello again, everybody.
On the right side is Ben Davis, back deep, and on the left is Reese Morrison, a co-captain in this game here today.
All right, let's go!
Lou Michaels approaching the ball. The Browns to receive to our left. The kick is in the air, and the play will be taken and dropped immediately by Ward. He picks it up, comes to the 10, comes up to the 15, and gets just across the 15-yard line.
Hell, way to go, Press!
The ball carrier was Davis, Ben Davis, with the carry just across the 15-yard line. And they mark it now back at the 14. That was an 11-yard return. So the NFL championship game in very chilly weather here in Cleveland is underway just about 5 minutes after the scheduled kickoff time. The Browns, who have had a lot of winning years, as a matter of fact, they have had winning seasons for a long time now. And this past year was one of their more successful in recent years. They are strong to the right on first down. And the ball carrier is Leroy Kelly, wasting no time, slanting off right tackle and going up to the 17.5-yard line, where he is brought down by Bobby Boyd, the left wing back for Baltimore.
Kelly, of course, showing that great desire that he has. Also, as he ran up that time, found no hole, and the good runner that he is slid off and tried to go to the outside and was brought down.
The Browns have had only one losing season since 1950, and that was in 1956 when they finished with a record of 5-7. So a 4-yard gain on that play. Second down, 6 at the Cleveland 18-yard line. This time the Browns are strong left. They'll come to Haraway on the right side, coming to the weak side and getting out over the 20-yard line to about the 21. Mike Curtis, the left linebacker, was the first guy to hit him and stop him there. Ball is marked at the 21.5, and it will now be third down and about 2.5 yards to go for the first. Browns wearing their white uniforms here today. They have the steel brown trim and the orange helmets. The Colts are decked out with the white pants and blue jerseys. Baltimore, a great defensive outfit. In 10 games, they held the opposition to 1 touchdown or less. 10 out of their 14 games this season. Strong to the left for Cleveland. Third and about 2.5. It's Kelly as the whistle sounds. He breaks through for what would be the necessary yardage as he gets out to about the 30 before Jerry Logan hits him. But the flag had been dropped before the play got underway. There is a flag back at the 20-yard line.
Penalty will be against the Cleveland Browns, Andy, and that, of course, is a tough break for them because Green broke through the line and got all the way up to the 29-yard line before he was brought down, and actually they ruled that he took too much time before they got the play underway. So that'll move the ball back to about the 17-yard line and nullifies that fine run of Green to run it up to the 29. So, once again now, Bill Nelson is faced with that key third down situation, and he's got about 8 to go to pick it up.
That's right. Nelson took over in the third game this season and has directed the Browns successfully ever since. They couldn't handle the Cardinals this year. That was one of their problems. Dropping back into the pocket, Nelson's first pass of the game completed to Warfield at the 24-yard line. Gets up across the 30. And the Browns will have the yardage for their first down. Dennis Gulbis, the middle linebacker for the Colts, made the tackle at that spot. And the Browns have their first down. The ball is on the 31-yard line. 14-yard pass play. So Bill Nelson, the first time he puts the ball in the air, is successful. He completed 15 of 23. The last time the Browns defeated the Colts. That was back on October 20th, and the only game that Baltimore lost all season. Strong to the left are the Browns, and this is Kelly trying an off-tackle play to the right side and getting only about a yard. Fred Miller, one of the underrated defensive linemen in the league, who will be going to the Pro Bowl this year, made the tackle.
The pass completion, Andy, from Nelson to Warfield was a very simple pattern. He just down about 4 steps and hooked right back in, and Nelson got the ball right there to him. The defensive cornerbacks were playing him a little loose, and that's a pretty handy thing to do with Warfield. If he can get the step on you, trouble.
Well, Warfield is out on the left against Lenny Lyles, and on the right is Gary Collins against Bob Boyd. Here's the pitch to the right side. The ball carrier is Kelly, and he is driven out of bounds, or wait a minute, he stays just inside bounds, I should say, at about the 33-yard line. Bubba Smith, that gigantic left defensive end, was there to make the stop.
It's an interesting thing about Bubba Smith, Andy. Last year, you know, he had not much of a year with the Baltimore Colts, and he said afterwards he felt he was out of position. And this year they moved him over to that defensive end spot, and he has found himself, and he's very happy there, and he's played like a happy football player. There was a good example right there, right around the ankles to make the stop.
That's right. The play gained only about a yard, so it's now 3rd down and 8. Now, the last 3rd down situation, Bill Nelson went to the air. What will he do here? He sets his team strong to the left, splits his running backs, drops back into the pocket. Good protection. Now scrambles out to the right side. He still has the ball at the 30. Finally delivers off the fingertips of Leroy Kelly at the 45-yard line of the Colts. The pass ball is incomplete, and Baltimore now will be receiving the football for the first time.
Kelly actually didn't figure in the pass pattern on the play at all, but as Nelson rolled out, he had to find somebody. Warfield was covered very well as he made his run. He made his pass pattern on the left side as other receivers were covered. So Green was just the last man he had to go to, and he couldn't hit it. So it brings up a kick.
Don Cockcroft is the Browns punter standing at the 18. Timmy Brown in single safety for Baltimore. The kick going to the left side. Brown chasing it. It bounces on the Colts' 37-yard line, takes a Baltimore bounce, and will be thrown dead at about the 44. Bob Whitlow of the Browns downed the ball when he saw that it was bouncing back toward Cleveland. So it's only a 20-yard punt. So the Baltimore Colts in possession of the ball for the first time, and it will be right on their own 45-yard line. So the Colts get it with better field position than did the Browns. Jerry Hill and Tom Matty, the starting running backs. The quarterback Morrow on a draw play on first down to Matty, coming out across the 50-yard line and getting good blocking as he heads down to the 46 of the Cleveland Browns. 9-yard gain on first down, make it 2nd and 1. The Colts use as blockers Bob Vogel at left tackle, playing despite a broken wrist, which is well padded today. Glenn Ressler, the left guard. The center is Bill Curry. The right guard is Dan Sullivan, and the right tackle is Sam Ball. Jimmy Orr flanked out to the right side. On second and just a bit more than one, Jerry Hill, the fullback on the try, and he appears to have it from here. He is across the 45-yard line down to about the 43.5, where he is tackled by Walter Johnson. Johnson, incidentally, one of the Browns who is going to the Pro Bowl this year, and the first down is recorded on the board at the 43-yard line of Cleveland. Each team now with one first down in the game. No score, 9 minutes and 10 seconds with the clock running, left to go in quarter number 1. The Colts are out now into a trips right formation. 3 receivers on the right side. The pass delivered and broken up at the 35-yard line. It was intended for the tight end, John Mackey. And the pass was broken up by the Browns defense. Bob Matheson, the middle linebacker, got a hand on that ball and knocked it away. And it falls incomplete, making it 2nd and 10 for Baltimore at the Browns' 43.
That's Earl Morrow's first pass this afternoon. In the playoff game last week, Earl was 13 out of 22 for 280 yards and 2 touchdowns. It looked slow in getting started against the strong rush of the Minnesota Vikings, but he finally got on track and got them moving.
This time, Willie Richardson flanked out to the right, and again, the Browns were in a the Colts, I should say, in a trips right formation. Morrow back in the pocket, delivers long, and the pass falls incomplete at the 25-yard line. The intended receiver was Willie Richardson, but he was delayed. There is no flag on that play, so it simply is 3rd down and 10 yards to go. As the Colts defense here facing its first clutch situation. We're still in quarter number 1. The Browns defense, Ron Snydow at left end, Walter Johnson the left tackle, Jim Kanicki the right tackle, and second-year man Jack Gregory the right end. The linebackers are Jim Houston, Bob Matheson, and Dale Lindsey. The wingbacks, Erich Barnes and Ben Davis, and the safeties, Ernie Kellerman and Mike Howell. Baltimore using a unique formation here. Morrow dropping back, completes the screen out to Matty on the left side at the 45 to the 40, down to the 35 as he heads down the left sideline. and out of bounds right at the 30-yard line. So the third down play was successful for the Colts as they pick up a first down at Cleveland's 30-yard line, a 13-yard play.
Actually, Andy, that's the first time that we've seen the Baltimore Colts use that formation. It was actually a wishbone Y, really. He brought the fullback up a step ahead of the two setbacks, and I don't think that the front four of the Cleveland Browns knew quite what was going to happen. They haven't seen it before. That's the first thing new we've seen. Usually they don't put them in. That time it worked very well as Matty picked up the yardage for the first down at the 30-yard line.
They are in the standard pro set this time, and it's a running play going straight up the middle. And the ball carrier was Jerry Hill, heading just slightly off to the right side, going inside to about the 28-yard line. Walter Johnson brought him down at that point.
They have a flag on the play. We're going to get a penalty stepped off here against the Baltimore Colts at 5 yards for illegal procedure. That moves the ball back to the 35-yard line. Signal from the referee. So that'll bring up now a 1st and 15 for Baltimore. We still have that good field position at the 35-yard line. No score in the ball game. We're in the opening moments of the first period. 8:40 to go here with the Baltimore Colts and the Cleveland Browns for the championship of the National Football League.
One change in the Colts lineup now. Ray Perkins has come in for Jimmy Orr at the spread end spot. Morrow back in fast formation, looking to his right. Now rolling out to his right. The ball is delivered long, looking for Perkins. Incomplete at the goal line and out of bounds on the far side of the field.
Morrow just threw that one away, Andy. He saw that he had no chance, and he didn't want to get trapped back there and take the loss. So at the last second, he saw that Richardson had no chance to run any pattern at all. He just threw it away. He wanted to make sure that nobody intercepted.
It's now second down and still 15 yards to go. Jerry Hill is now heading off to the sideline for Baltimore. Hill goes out. Will catch his replacement at the fullback spot. As the Colts come out over the ball at the Browns' 35-yard line, 2nd and 15. The Browns are using only one running back now, and it's Tom Matty. Back again, the pass is Morrow, this time to his left. The ball is intercepted right along the sideline. The Browns have come up with it. It's Ben Davis, the right quarterback, who took it away from Jimmy Orr, and the Browns will have the ball at their own 14-yard line. A timeout on the field with the score. Cleveland nothing and Baltimore nothing. The Cleveland Browns, who led the National Football League in interceptions with 32, have just picked off another one to give their offensive team the second chance at the football. It's 1st and 10 for Cleveland.
Come on, Killer, get him, baby!
At its own 14-yard line. The Browns are strung out to the left side, and they'll go to Kelly, trying to get outside, left side, gets across the 15, and down at about the 16.5-yard line. Kelly on the carry. Don Shinnick, Baltimore's right side linebacker, was the first man to meet him on that right side as Kelly first ducked into a hole and then tried to go outside. Ball is placed at the 17. Second down, 7 yards to go after the 3-yard pickup by Kelly. Last time against Baltimore, Leroy in 30 carries gained 130 yards. And Don Shula remarked yesterday that's better than any two backs have done against the Colts this season. Now back into pass formation is Nelson, firing out to the right side. He hits Collins, and Collins drops the ball when he is slammed by Bobby Boyd along the near sideline just across the 20-yard line. Collins had the ball, lost it when he was hit, so it's an incompletion. And it's third down and 7 yards to go.
One of the great things, Andy, about a back of Kelly's stature who leads the league in yards rushing and in touchdowns is the fact that at any time he gives the crowd a great deal because you never know, at any minute he's liable to bust loose and go all the way. He's that great threat that Don Shula has talked about so many times. They want to know where he is every minute.
Leroy Kelly is in the backfield this time, and he's being sent into a pass pattern as the ball is delivered by Nelson across the 30-yard line, complete to Paul Warfield at the 32. So we've had some clutch third down plays in this game. Call at the 33-yard line as the ball is spaced down now, and it is a first down for the Cleveland Browns, a 16-yard pass completion to Paul Warfield, also headed for the Pro Bowl this year, and the Browns' leading ball carrier during the season.
They're picking on Lenny Lyles over there, that cornerback spot. Warfield just goes down about 10 yards and it cuts back in quickly with that great speed. Nelson gets the ball to him, and Lyles doesn't have much of a chance on it.
Now it's first down again, and dropping back into the pocket is Nelson. Looking out to his left, the ball over the head of Kelly in pass pattern again from the backfield. And Kelly didn't have a chance to catch it. He was isolated on linebacker Don Shinnick, but the ball was overthrown by Nelson.
You notice defensively, Andy, that the secondary of the Baltimore Colts, Bobby Boyd, Lenny Lyles, played a cornerback. In contrast to most of the teams during the regular season, they like to play up close on those receivers because of the condition of the field, which can best be described as a dry river basin. That's about what it looks like right now. Pretty loose down there. They don't want to give these guys with a great speed that extra step or two on them deep. And so they give them those short ones, protect against that long bomb.
And, of course, both of these teams are known for playing a lot of zone defense, too. Now here's Kelly with the ball again, sweeping to the left side, but not going very far. And he is stacked up at right about the line of scrimmage, sweeping to the left, but he doesn't get beyond the line of scrimmage, which was the 33-yard line. Rick Bulk, the Colts free safety, brought him down right at that spot. And we're back to that seemingly very frequent third down situation. It's now 3rd and 10. Don Shula, who once played here in Cleveland for a couple of seasons, tended to be critical of the field condition yesterday, but then he caught himself and said, "You remember what happened to the last coach who criticized an opponent's field condition." So it's 3rd and 10 for the Browns at their own 33. And Nelson will put the ball in the air for the yardage, and he completes the pass to Milt Morris across midfield and into Colt territory at the 45-yard line. The tight end has the reception, and another clutch situation as Bill Nelson has come through again. It was a quick pattern for 23 yards to the 45 of the Colts. And the first time today that the Browns have been into Baltimore territory. And the crowd here in Cleveland's Municipal Stadium, which will number about 81,000 here today, starts to come alive. Nobody has scored in this game with 5.5 minutes to go in quarter number 1. The Browns are out strong to the left side. Nelson wheels around and gives off to Haraway, and he breaks through a hole and gets inside the 40, down to the 37-yard line before Jerry Logan makes the stop. Charlie Haraway starting at fullback today in place of Ernie Green, the regular who has been out much of the season and played last week for the first time since a knee injury in August. An 8-yard gainer on that play, 2nd and 2 at the 37. The great Baltimore defense being tested now by Bill Nelson, who is only 27 years of age. Kelly, a halfback on the right, gets the handoff, slants to the left side, and goes to the 35-yard line where he is stacked up by Fred Miller, the first to reach him, the right defensive tackle of the blue-shirted Colts. They gave up only 144 points all season.
They're going to take a measurement on this one, Andy, but if the play started at the 45 as it did, this will have to be a first down by about a length of the football as the Cleveland Browns move as deep as they've been here in the first quarter. So it'll be a first down. We'll take 10 seconds for station identification. This is the CBS Radio Network.
This is WBBM News Radio 78, Chicago. The time, 20 seconds before 2 o'clock.
That's the 4th first down for Baltimore. They got it on the measurement by inches. For the Browns, rather, did I say Baltimore? At the 35-yard line of Baltimore, the Browns moving the football.
Nothing, come on!
1st and 10. And here is a play-action pass coming up by Nelson and now he scrambles to the right as he found the receivers covered, and he is dumped for a loss. Back at his own 43-yard line, Ordell Brazy, the right defensive end, finally got him along with Fred Miller as he rolled slightly to his right, finding his receivers covered. You actually couldn't blame the Cleveland blocking in that case. He got good time. He had his 3 or 4 seconds, but he couldn't find the receivers open.
First time so far this afternoon that front four up there at Baltimore has got to Nelson to dump him for a loss. Big Ordell Brazy leading the charge on him, along with Freddie Miller. Milton Moran, the young man who picked up that key pass that got him down to the 45-yard line, a youngster from the University of Massachusetts who was the first-round draft choice of these Browns in '66. Good, strong kid.
That was an 8-yard loss, so it's 2nd and 18, back at the 43. Now Nelson wheeling around and firing out to the left side, and the ball falls incomplete, intended for Charlie Haraway, the fullback, out of the backfield. Billy Ray Smith was covering on the play and also giving good pursuit. Incompleted forward pass, make it 3rd and 18 now. Both teams coming through in clutch situations, and yet we have no score in this game with 3 minutes and 40 seconds remaining in quarter number 1. The Baltimore Colts, the second best defensive team in the National Football League, 3rd against the rush, 4th against the pass. Nelson in passing today has unofficially 50 yards, 3 out of 7 in the air. The Browns are out strong to the right side. Back drops Nelson, back beyond midfield. Plenty of time. Now gets the ball away. It's a wobbly pass, but it's complete. A flag is down on the play. It's Paul Warfield with the ball at the 35-yard line of Baltimore, which was just about where this series started. Don Shinnick, the right linebacker, brought him down, but there is a flag on the field.
I think we're going to get a holding penalty here against the Cleveland Browns. And this crowd will react as official moves the ball. We'll wait to see. Oh, it's a holding penalty against the Baltimore Colts. Of course, that brings up an automatic first down. There's a break for the Cleveland Browns with the ball at the 37-yard line. A defensive holding call against Baltimore. And with it goes the automatic first down.
You're right, Bob. That is a break because that was nowhere near the position on the field that the Browns would have had to achieve to get a first down, but they've got it at the Colts 37. We still have 3.5 minutes to go in quarter number 1. The Browns are set strong to the right. Kelly on the handoff, and he meets strong resistance. Don Shinnick, the right side linebacker, was not blocked on that play, and he hits Kelly right at the 36-yard line. Billy Ray Smith also on the play. 2-yard pickup on the play to the 35. 2nd down, 8 yards to go. A great defense by Baltimore. Very experienced. Average playing time in the National Football League for this 11-man starting defensive unit, over 7 years. The running backs are split. Nelson into the pocket. Shooting out to his left side is for Warfield. Thrown behind him, and again a flag is down. Warfield at the 25-yard line on a down-and-out pattern. And just as he turned out, the ball went behind him. Lyles and Shinnick were covering Warfield. And we've had the yellow flag dropped again.
This penalty will be, I'm sure, against the Cleveland Browns. Talking to Lenny Lyles, the official down there, to see whether Lenny wants to accept the penalty or not, or want to keep the down box moving. It looks like the official's going to set the ball down at the line of scrimmage as the illegal procedure called against Cleveland. Penalty refused by Baltimore to keep the down box moving, because that brings up the 3rd down and about 8 at the 35-yard line. So here's another of those big 3rd down plays in which Nelson has been so successful so far here in the first quarter, hitting Paul Warfield to pick it up.
These same two teams played in the 1964 title game right here on this field, and the Browns won that one 27-0. That was also considered an upset at that time. Nelson to throw for the yardage with a man draped around him. Goes out to the right side. Incomplete to Leroy Kelly. And a good rush was put on that time, Bob.
The Baltimore Colts had the safety blitz on that time. Jerry Logan came firing through from the free safety. And Nelson had to throw it quicker than he wanted to and was off target with it. And so now on 4th down of 8 from the 35-yard line, we'll see what the Browns do here.
Looks like a field goal attempt coming up. And Nelson is the holder. And Don Cockroft, who made 18 of 24 during the season, will be trying a 42-yard field goal angled to the left.
He's got the wind a little at his back.
The kick is partially blocked. The ball is loose on the 27-yard line. Picked up by Baltimore. Bobby Boyd with the ball takes it out of bounds. So the field goal try was blocked. And the Colts now will be in possession. There's timeout on the field with the score. Baltimore nothing, Cleveland nothing. Back Back in Cleveland, Andy Musser with Bob Reynolds. The Colts have the ball now at their own 31-yard line. Neither team any points on the board. The Browns have dominated the play such that this is the second time the Colts have had the ball. Morrill wants to throw in first down. He finds Orr across the 40-yard line, starts to break a tackle, but Mike Howell hangs on, and yardage recorded out to the 45-yard line. It will be a first down for Baltimore. 14-yard play from the 31 to the 45. 23 plays for the Colts so far. Check that, 23 for the Browns. That's play number 8 for the Baltimore Colts from scrimmage. 2 minutes and 10 seconds remaining in quarter number 1. No score. Baltimore out strong to the right at their own 45-yard line. Morrill again dropping back. The ball is delivered off the fingertips of Mackey at the 48-yard line. Slanting out to his right. The pass thrown high above Mackey. He got his right hand on the ball, and that was all. Ernie Kellerman was covering the famed Baltimore tight end on that play. Mackey was the 12th top receiver in the NFL this year. 45 catches for 644 yards and 5 touchdowns. His backup man, by the way, Tom Mitchell, had a unique record this year. He caught only 6 passes, but 4 of them were good for touchdowns. So it's 2nd and 10 at the Colt 45-yard line. Morrill again drops back into pass formation, delivers the ball long for Mackey again off his fingertips at the 30-yard line of Cleveland. This was a long pattern to the right side with Barnes and Howell both covering. And Mackey could not quite catch up with it. So it's a third down situation again. With 1 minute and 53 to go here in the first period, a no score from Cleveland's Municipal Stadium in Cleveland, Ohio. The National Football League's championship game. The Cleveland Browns, with their strong defensive unit up front and their fine and quick secondary, forcing Earl Morrill, at least seemingly, the game fat into the point at the moment, is to go to the air. Morrill has gone to the air 7 times, 2 completions, unofficially 27 yards. Baltimore lining up with only 1 running back in a trips right formation. Morrill to throw the ball to the right side. The pass complete to Richardson at the 42-yard line of Cleveland. The pass to the 42-yard line, and it is a first down. So the Colts came through in a critical situation. 13-yard pass play to Richardson, who has really been something this year. He had 6 touchdown catches in his last 5 games coming into this one here today. So now the Colts are in Baltimore, or in the Cleveland territory, I should say, at the 42-yard line, and they have a first down to go with it. They'll stay on the ground as Matty gets the ball, 3 blockers ahead of him, cracks inside the 40 and goes to the 36-yard line of Cleveland. Fine block on the play by Glenn Ressler, big number 62, 6'3", 250 pounds, 4-year veteran from Kent State. And that time, Matty just followed him, put his hand on his jersey, and followed him right through the hole and got to the 36. 6-yard gain on that play. 2nd down, 4 yards to go at Cleveland's 36-yard line. Jim Houston, who calls the defensive signals for Cleveland, made that tackle. He is the left side linebacker. Baltimore out strong to the left, where Orr is the flanker. Morrill turns around and gives to Matty again, jumping over a tackler at the 30, getting down to the 25, and inside the 25 to the 24-yard line, where again the Colts will have recorded a first down. Jim Houston pursued the play very well, and it was a 12-yard gainer for Baltimore to Cleveland 24.
And once again, Glenn Ressler leading the way with Sam Ball as Matty carries successfully with 11 seconds to play here in the first quarter down to the 24-yard line. And the Baltimore Colts in good field position right here. And with the clock running, this will probably be the last play of quarter number 1. And again, it's a Tom Matty carry going to just shy of the 20-yard line. And there's the gun. That's the end of the first period with the score, Cleveland nothing and Baltimore nothing. Back in Cleveland, the Baltimore Colts now moving at the goal line to our right. The Browns on defense. The ball is at the Browns' 21-yard line, and it's 2nd and 7 for the Baltimore Colts. Jerry Hill and Tom Matty in the backfield for Baltimore. Jimmy Orr, John Mackey, and Willie Richardson are the receivers.
And Earl Morrill, who went off to the sideline to have a brief conversation with Coach Don Shula during that timeout, is back on the field right now calling his signal. Neither team has scored in the first quarter. This will be the first play of the second quarter. Baltimore again spread out such that they have only one running back, and that is Jerry Hill. He falls down, does Hill, as Morrill goes back to pass. The ball is delivered long and too long in the left corner of the end zone. The intended receiver, Jimmy Orr, the spread end, covered all the way by Ben Davis. And that was interesting. I had my eye on Jerry Hill, who was, as I mentioned, the one back in that offensive setup for Baltimore, and he slipped as he tried to go in and set a block for Morrill. Nevertheless, Earl did get off the ball very well, but a bit too long.
In that first period of play, Baltimore picked up 32 yards on the ground, and Earl Morrill was 3 out of 8 for 40 yards. On the other hand, the Cleveland Browns were able to pick up but 6 yards on the ground, and Nelson completed 3 out of 9 for 50 yards. So the indicativeness of the score, 0-0 here, is shown in the statistical figures of that first period of play.
Well, you talk about big plays. This one really is, because if Baltimore doesn't get the TD here, they may go for a field goal. Morrill passing for the end zone. Incomplete. It looks like the intended receiver was Richardson at the 6-yard line, but the ball was thrown way over his head and fell incomplete beyond the end line. And it looks now as though Baltimore will indeed go for the field goal try. That would be Lou Michaels, who has made 18 of 28 during the regular National Football League season. His holder is Bob Boyd.
Come on, Lou!
And this will be an attempt here of 28 yards. Again, angle to the left. The same goal at which the Cleveland attempt was blocked earlier. The 28-yard try is good. The kick is good, and so the score now, timeout on the field with the score, Baltimore 3 and Cleveland 0. Now Lou Michaels, who has just gotten the first score of the game, is set to kick off for the Baltimore Colts, who lead 15 seconds into the second quarter, 3-0. Reach Morrison and Ben Davis are back deep for Cleveland, standing on the 5-yard line.
All right, let's cover, baby!
Lou Michaels, a left-footed kicker, as I'm sure all NFL fans know by now, approaches the ball and lays into it, and it's coming up a little bit short at about the 14-yard line. It is taken by Morrison, coming up to the 20. Davis is on the carry, up across the 25 to the 28-yard line. Ben Davis on the return to the 28 in Cleveland territory, a 14-yard return. And so the Browns, who now have the ball for the first time trailing on the scoreboard, will try to get something going against one of the most renowned defensive teams in the National Football League. Warfield out to the left, and on the right is Gary Collins. The quarterback is still Bill Nelson. He fakes the pitch out, then gives to Leroy Kelly, and Kelly is hit behind the line by Fred Miller, who pursued that play very well. Now, there may be a gain of a yard here because of Kelly's quickness, but that's it. From the 28 to the 29-yard line, 2nd and 9. Quarterback Nelson faking the pitch and then making the handoff to his left to Kelly. 2nd down, 9 yards to go for the Browns at their own 29-yard line. Just underway in the second quarter. The formation for the Browns is strong to the right. Nelson spreads his running backs. Over center, Fred Hoagland. Now calling an audible as the defense switches. And let's see what this is all about. Nelson wants to throw, dropping back, scrambling to his left, spinning around, and can't get out of the trap. The ball is not free, but after the whistle at the 16-yard line. Brett Miller, the right defensive tackle, and Ordell Brazy grab him way back deep. And we have a loss here recorded back to the 16-yard line. That'll be a 13-yard loss on that play. Third down now, and about 23 yards for the first. So the Browns, who are trailing here 3-0, have been driven back on this series.
Pick one off!
Back not too far from their own goal line. Nelson back in a muddy part of the field. Goes on the screen pass. Out on the left side to Kelly. Kelly to the 25. Nearly slips and falls. And gets dumped at the 26-yard line. Leroy Kelly almost lost his footing. And a flag has been thrown, possibly for unnecessary roughness. Rick Bolt, the free safety, was the guy who grabbed Kelly. And Leroy, with unsteady footing, was fortunate to make as many yards as he did.
We were wondering, Andy, when Bill Nelson would go to that screen, because, of course, that's the best defense against a big pass rush when they get in there and get at you all the time. Then you go to that screen, and he finally went to it that time. But here's the signal from the official to the ball at the 26-yard line. They had an ineligible receiver downfield. The Baltimore Colts refused the penalty to keep the down box moving, so the ball will be put in play from the 26-yard line. Fourth down, the kick situation.
And that means a punting situation with Don Cockroft back deep for the Cleveland Browns. And he gets a high kick away. Timmy Brown is the deep man for Baltimore, grabbing it at the 38, dropping the ball, but falling on top of it is Timmy, right at the 40-yard line of the Baltimore Colts. He did not signal for a fair catch. He dropped the ball, but fell forward onto it, recovering the 44-yard punt. Timeout has been called in the field with the score: Baltimore 3 and Cleveland nothing. The Cleveland Browns have had the football 3 different times in this game so far. Twice they have had to punt, and once after their longest drive, a 42-yard field goal was blocked. Now the Colts have the ball at their own 40-yard line. They are strung out strong to the left side. Earl Morrill on a reverse. This is tight end John Mackey with the ball at the 40 to the 45, coming to the left side and crossing midfield and being dropped at the 49-yard line of Cleveland. A first down will be recorded on this play on the end around as John Mackey, of whom it has been frequently suggested that he be used as a ball carrier. This time he was, but from the tight end position.
That's a familiar play for all Baltimore fans, of course. They've seen it during the course of the year many times. That Mackey, a big, strong, bull-like runner, if he isn't stopped behind the line of scrimmage on a play like that and gets a little running room, he's a pretty tough man to bring down. So we're getting a measurement to see whether or not the Baltimore Colts have picked up the first down, and it will be very close, just over the 50-yard line. But a first down, as the stake is about halfway up on the ball. Any portion of the ball, of course, on the line is a first down. And so the Colts get it, and they'll move the ball now just over midfield, the ball actually between the 49 and the 50-yard line. So Mackey does pick up the first down. We have 12 minutes and 27 seconds of playing time remaining here in the first half of this ball game. The only score, a 28-yard field goal by Lou Michaels, which leaves the Baltimore Colts in front 3-0.
Here again, the Colts lining up with only one running back. He is set as a right halfback, Jerry Hill. And he gets the handoff, slanting to his left side, nose down, barreling to about the 46-yard line of Cleveland. About a 4-yard gain. Walter Johnson, the Browns' left defensive tackle, and Jim Kinnicky, his partner on the right, combining for that tackle after the 4-yard gain, 2nd and 6. Now Jerry Hill is going off to the sideline for the Colts, who have used a couple of unusual setups here today. And when they've been in the passing formation, they've had extra receivers in there. Matty is in now, and he is the lone remaining back, set as a left halfback. Dropping back is Earl Morrill, holding the ball in his right hand, firing out to the left, and a great catch by Mackey at the 45-yard line. He had to leap backward to grab the ball, hit as he grabbed it by Dale Lindsey, and they have recorded the forward progress to the 44-yard line. A fine catch by Mackey, Bob.
That time, the Baltimore Colts offensively had both of their tight ends in there, Mitchell along with John Mackey, and they do that occasionally. Give a little more protection to Earl Morrill. So he completes the pass to Mackey, to Tom Matty, rather, at the 44-yard line, where it is now 3rd down with about 5 to go.
So the Colts are taking a little extra time in the huddle, which could spell pass here, but you never know. They are out strong to the right, or is the flanker to the right side. The backs are split. Dropping back is Morrill, going to the weak side and completing the pass at the sideline to the tight end John Mackey, out of bounds at Cleveland's 36-yard line, driven out by Ben Davis.
That'll be a first down by about a couple of yards and a half or so down to the 36-yard line. And for the Baltimore Colts playing control football here in this first half, maintaining possession. Score in that American Championship game, the New York Jets are leading Oakland 20-13 now in the third period in that Cleveland and New York. The winner of that one, of course, to meet the winner of this one in the Super Bowl 2 weeks from today down in Miami's Orange Bowl.
Morrow has passed a dozen times in this game, completed 5 of them for 50 yards. At the Cleveland 36, it is 1st and 10 for Baltimore. Dropping back again to pass is Morrow, going long to the left side, and he completes the ball, completes the pass on the 17-yard line to Orr, and he got it just in bounds. Both feet coming down inbounds before he stepped out. And so consecutive first downs for the Colts. And that's the first time we've had that in this game for either side here today.
The down-and-out pattern, and Earl hit Orr with it very beautifully, just inside the sideline, and he came down with both feet for the first down at the 17-yard line. And so the Colts, who lead it 3-0, are beat now, 1st and 10 at the Cleveland 17.
That was a 19-yard gainer for the Colts, who are out strong to the right. And they fake the pitch out and run the strong inside play. And that was Tom Matty carrying the football, going inside and slamming inside the 15-yard line down to about the 14. The ball has yet to be spotted on the field. But it is placed down at the 14-yard line after a gain of 3. Second down, 7 yards to go. Jim Houston and Walter Johnson got together to bring Matty down that time after they faked the pitch to the outside on Jerry Hill. Now the Cleveland fans want their defense to perk up right here. Baltimore spreading the running backs. Running play right side. Matty with the ball inside the 10 and then hit fiercely and driven backwards. But he is just inside the 10-yard line where Dale Lindsey, the 4-year veteran right side linebacker, has made the tackle at the 8-yard line.
Here comes Mitchell back into the lineup again as the Baltimore Colts use, and they take Jimmy Orr out of there. So they have both their tight ends in there again, as they do on short yardage situations. Third down at about a yard. Both of the tight ends are in there.
And, of course, Mitchell caught a touchdown in the division championship last week. Morrow spins around. He gives to Jerry Hill. He goes down very near the goal line. He almost got through for the touchdown. A huge hole opened up, and that was intended, as Bob just pointed out, to be a short yardage gainer, but he very nearly took it all the way. The ball is on the 2-yard line.
Dan Sullivan and Sam Ball on the right side of that interior line of Baltimore, doing a fine job of moving Kinnicky and Johnson a little bit out of there for Jerry Hill, who's been plagued by injuries, but was ready to go last week and saw a little service in the playoff game, and he's been going all the way here fullback this afternoon so far.
No touchdowns in this game so far. They have recorded this as the 1-yard line. Here's a handoff to Matty, and he is stacked up on the goal line. Now, the Browns had made one defensive change because of their goal line defense. They took Mike Howell, the free safety, out, and they brought in Bill Glass.
Bill Glass, the author. He has 3 books going for him. A fine young man, a member of the Christian Athlete group, who's been bothered by injuries. Jack Gregory, the young man, number 81, who took his place from Delta State, for doing a fine job for him.
Well, they had a 1st and goal on the 1-yard line. Now the ball is on about the half-yard line. It's 2nd down. Slanting in from touchdown for Tom Matty. He took the handoff and slanted in from the left side, and he just did get over in front of the goalpost. It was a 60-yard drive in 10 plays, culminated by Tom Matty's touchdown. Tom had 9 of them during the regular season rushing, and another one on a pass reception. And so the Baltimore Colts have upped their lead now to 9-0, and they'll try for the extra point with Lou Michaels doing the kicking. 7 minutes and 55 seconds left here in the second quarter.
Is it broke? No, it's a perfect.
Bobby Boyd is the holder. The kick is in the air, and the kick is good. So the score now, with timeout on the field, is Baltimore 10 and Cleveland 0. Back here at Cleveland. We're in the second quarter, 7 minutes and 55 seconds to go. Ben Davis and Reese Morrison are back deep for Cleveland now. The Browns trying to get a touchdown or something on the scoreboard now as they trail 10-0. Lou Michaels, who has personally scored 4 points in this game, set to kick off for Baltimore. Michaels approaching the ball. It's in the air. Again, not going too deep, but very high. Taken by Morrison on the 8-yard line. Coming to the 15. Slanting to his left at the 20. A flag is down. Morrison gets out to the 30-yard line. The flag was thrown on a blocking play back near the 15-yard line as Morrison advanced the ball to about the 31 on a 22-yard return for Reese Morrison, the reserve running back out of Southwest Texas State.
Glenn Ressler, the left guard of the Baltimore Colts, involved in that play. It was a holding penalty, moving the ball back. A clip against the Cleveland Browns involved. Sets the ball all the way back now to about the 9-yard line, so that nullifies that fine return and sets the Cleveland Browns deep in their own territory, trailing 10-0. First down at 10 from their own 9-yard line.
And the Browns fans now urging the team to get moving. The first play will be on the Brown to Kelly, running wide to the right. Bobby Boyd has a hold of him back there and trips him up maybe for a yard loss. We're going to pause now 10 seconds for station identification. This is the CBS Radio Network.
WBBM Chicago, News Radio 78. The temperature is 21 degrees officially in Chicago at 2:31.
Kelly lost a yard on that sweep to the right side, so it's back at the 8, 2nd and 11 for the Browns, who had their huddle back behind the goal line. And they trail here, playing in their own stadium by a score of 10-0. The handoff to Haraway this time, slanting off right tackle, getting out across the 10 and going to about the 12-yard line. About a 4-yard carry for Haraway, brought down by Bubba Smith, left defensive end of the Colts, a second-year man from Michigan State who played inside last year, but as Bob Reynolds pointed out earlier, has performed much more successfully on the outside this season. So now we have third down and 8 yards to go. Big play for the Browns, who send Warfield wide to the left, and they have Collins spread on the right side.
Notice how Lenny Lyles is playing him real loose.
And here's the pass delivered in the air, complete to Haraway at the 25 to the 27-yard line. The fullback Haraway made the key reception, brought down by Dennis Galbitz and Rick Volk. But the Browns will have their first down, and a clutch one it is as it moves the ball out from the shadow of their own goal line, out to the 28-yard line. 16-yard pass play, giving the Browns a first down.
And once again, Nelson has come up with that big third down pass play to keep the ball in possession of the Browns and keep it moving.
Cleveland has 6 first downs with no points. Pass out to the left, thrown behind Paul Warfield, and very nearly picked off by Lenny Lyles, who actually, with the ball behind Warfield as he tried to grab it, in a little better position. But the ball was delivered very sharply, and Lyles neither could control it.
Another young man who played his college ball at Louisville. The roar from the crowd is for Bubba Smith, who is limping off the field. He seems to be having a little problem with one of his legs, and he's been replaced in there by Roy Hilton. Big number 85, young man from Jackson State.
Come on, Reynolds!
Here's the draw play used by Cleveland to give the ball to Leroy Kelly, bouncing out across the 30 to the 33-yard line where Ordell Brazy makes the stop. So Kelly has yet to break loose for a long gainer here today. And so far, the Baltimore defense has played him very well. Of course, it's a mistake to try to key simply on someone like Kelly, because Cleveland can do other things very well, too.
We were talking a moment ago about Lenny Lyles, young man from Louisville. Another young man who played his college ball at Louisville is watching from the sidelines today, wishing he could be in there. The great, of course, Johnny Unitas.
It's 3rd and 5 for the Browns. Back in pass formation and putting the ball up for grabs, and a flag goes down as the pass falls incomplete, intended for Morin at the 45-yard line. A flag was thrown on that play. Rick Volk was covering.
Lenny Lyles was a little over-anxious, grabbed a hold of the intended receiver. The official was right there to spot it, and so they'll call a interference and a holding penalty against the Baltimore coach, Lenny Lyles.
Hey, Fritz! That was offensive pass interference!
At the Browns' 43-yard line, that brings up the first down, of course. So with 5 minutes to play here in the first half, and the Baltimore Colts leading it 10-0, the Browns are alive, and the crowd of 80,000. Many of them, of course, a large majority of them, Cleveland Brown fans, imploring the club to take advantage of the break now and keep it going.
Cleveland still on its own half of the football field at the 43-yard line. Strong right, and a near collision in the backfield as Haraway gets the handoff, comes to the left side, crosses the 45, and is down at the 47-yard line by Don Shinnick on a 4-yard pickup. So they've used Haraway a lot here today, realizing that Baltimore is ever watchful of Leroy Kelly, and you can't blame them for that. Put the ball officially on the 48-yard line and make it 2nd down and 5 yards to go. The Browns 52 yards away from their first score. They trail here 10-0. They break huddle and come out strong to the right. The running backs are split. Kelly gets the handoff, goes to the right side. Again, a flag is down as he is stacked up at his own 49-yard line after a pickup of only 1.
Be an illegal procedure call against the Cleveland Browns, and we'll see whether or not Baltimore gives them the yard gain and keeps the down box moving or takes the penalty.
No, zone, strong side.
Yeah.
Combination.
So we'll see now whether they're going to take the penalty, and they are. 5-yard penalty for illegal procedure.
Giving you a split on flank now, too.
You can call the split. You can see the split, can't you?
Yeah, pretty well. Let me see it. Double wing. They done anything on double wing?
They want the split.
You got the one coverage on the CR to Willie that one time.
Yeah, that was early.
That's this one right here.
Yeah, that was it.
Combination on the CR the second time.
Penalty-wise here this afternoon, that's the 3rd penalty for 15 yards against the Browns. Moves the ball back to the Brown 43-yard line. Brings up the 2nd down, and just about 10 yards to go.
That's right, Bob. The series started on just about the 43 last time. So the Browns are out, strong to the left. Running back set to the right side. Bill Nelson grabs the ball from center, throws out to the right side, completes his pass to Haraway at the 40, gets up to the 45, and slams the ball down as he realizes he doesn't have the necessary yardage. Mike Curtis, left side linebacker, in on the tackle.
Good defensive play by Curtis, too, because the screen was set up to Haraway out there, and Curtis played the defender off and grabbed Haraway before he could turn the corner. Haraway a little upset, slamming the ball down as he got just up over the 45 to the 46-yard line.
Now the Browns are in a 3rd down situation. They need about 6 for the first. Now, they have come through on many clutch situations here today, and this is one trailing 10-0.
Big play, baby! Come on!
They spring out wide to the left. Nelson drops back. Good protection. Over the middle he goes, and it's intercepted by Richie Volk at the 35-yard line, up to the 40, up to midfield, and into Cleveland territory at the 43-yard line. The free safety, Rick Volk, who had 6 interceptions during the season, picked that one off. Milt Morin was the intended receiver, but the Colts have the football back. Timeout has been called on the field with the score, Baltimore 10 and Cleveland nothing. So we have an interception for either side. Ben Davis made one, and now Rick Volk has gotten one to get the football back for the Baltimore Colts. They have it on the Browns' 43-yard line. And with 3:17 left to go in the second quarter, they lead 10-0. This is Jerry Hill sweeping to the left side and diving to get inside the 40. About a 3-yard gain for the fullback, Jerry Hill. The tackle made by Jack Gregory and Jim Kanicki. second down, 7 yards to go for the Baltimore Colts. There has been a lot of frustration associated with the Baltimore football over the past couple of years. Last season, of course, they were 11-0-2 with a game to go. They lost to the Rams, and they didn't qualify for the playoffs despite their brilliant record.
What was he trying to run? His own pass?
Yeah, just a takeoff there.
Yeah.
At the 40. Faking the handout to the right side. Morrow now throws back to the other side to Mackey at the 40.
Go, Mac, go, Mac, go, Mac, go, Mac!
To the 35, to the 30, down the left sideline, to the 20, to the 15-yard line, and the ball pops loose, and the Browns have the football. Up the far side of the field, number 40 for the Cleveland Browns, Eric Barnes, got the football. And that will have to be ruled a fumble following the pass reception, and Cleveland comes right back with the ball, returning it to their own 24-yard line.
It was a little swing pass out to Mackey. Mackey getting a great block from Curry, and the last one from Mackey. But as he got down and cut back in, he was hit and hit hard. The ball rolled loose, was picked up by Eric Barnes, and so what looked like a fine gain for the Baltimore Colts is turned instead into a fumble recovery, and the Browns have it.
Nelson, and here is a near interception, and did he keep it? It's Mike Curtis, he did. And the Colts have it right back. A sideline juggling act by Mike Curtis as Nelson passed on first down, and Baltimore has that football right back again. He had trouble maintaining control of that football along the far sideline. The yard line is about the 32 of Cleveland.
This thing is getting wild out here at Cleveland's Municipal Stadium as they exchange ball control. Baltimore Colts losing it on the end of a fast play to Mackey, who swung down deep in the Brown territory. Then on the very first play from scrimmage, the Colts get the ball right back again on Curtis's interception along the sidelines. And so the situation is this. We have 1 minute and 59 to go in the first half here. The ball is at the 33 of the Cleveland Browns. It'll be first down and 10 for the Baltimore Colts when play is resumed. Now, coming up on most of these CBS Radio Network stations as the season progresses, the Cotton Bowl on New Year's Day, Texas and Tennessee. Great battle that should be. The Playoff Bowl on January 5th, a week from today at Miami's Orange Bowl, pitting the Minnesota Vikings against the Dallas Cowboys. And then, to wind it up for the great season, CBS will bring you the Pro Bowl game on January 19th from the Coliseum in Los Angeles, California. All presentation of CBS. The score of that Oakland, New York game is now 23-20, and the Oakland Raiders have gone ahead of Joe Namath and company. I don't know whether that's a final or not, Andy, but it's in the fourth period anyway, and they've come from behind to go out in front by 3, and they must be having a wild one down there like we are here.
I'll say they are, and that game played in only slightly warmer temperatures than we have here in Cleveland today. The ball on the Browns' 32-yard line. The Colts back in possession now, using Matty on the right side to go through a gigantic hole and hit hard as he goes inside the 25, down to about the 21-yard line. Matty was really hit by Mike Howell, who was only 6'1" and 190 pounds, but he banged into Matty awfully hard.
Once again, the right side of that offensive line for Baltimore, Dan Sullivan and Sam Ball blocking very well, moving Walt Johnson out of there that time, along with Ron Snido.
And the play brought Baltimore a first down. Now, here is a handoff to Jerry Hill. He nearly slips and falls as he goes inside the 15 down to the 11-yard line.
Time out! Tell him time out!
And they could be close to another first down here. It may be inches shy.
That was the draw play again, this time to Jerry Hill. The fine fullback. He stuttered just a step or two, paused just momentarily, went right up the middle. And again, we can't say enough about the interior blocking of Vogel, Dressler, Sullivan, and Ball along that line for Baltimore. They're handling that Cleveland front four very well.
Chains onto the field for a measurement here, and it looks like they'll be short by about a foot.
Yeah, we'll see what they call here second down and just about a matter of half a yard or so to go for the first down, and we'll see whether Morrill goes for the pass on this one or whether he goes for the running play.
Let's go, ram it in, let's go!
A minute and 5 seconds is all that remains here in the first half of play. Matty's going to make the try, sweeping to the left inside the 10 to the 5. He's going to go. A touchdown for Tom Matty. He swept to the left side. He used his blockers perfectly, and he got the score. 32 yards in 3 plays for the Baltimore Colts. And the Colts have edged their advantage up now to 16-0 over Cleveland, a team which defeated them in the '64 championship game 27-0. Now we have the Jets, by the way, back over Oakland 27-23, still in the fourth quarter. Michaels for the extra point try with Boyd. The kick is in the air. The kick is good. So make it now Baltimore 17 and Cleveland nothing. 58 seconds left to go here in the first half. And the Baltimore Colts have taken advantage of the exchange of footballs. They've occurred a couple of times here. We had Erich Barnes with an interception, but Mike Curtis came right back with one of his own. And 3 plays later, Baltimore has its second touchdown. So Earl Morrill, who has done the job all season long with the injured Johnny Unitas, is having a good first half here today and directing his club to this 17-0 lead with all points coming here in the second quarter. We were scoreless at the end of one. Again, Ben Davis and Reese Morrison will be back deep for Cleveland. And Lou Michaels will be kicking off again with less than a minute to go here in the first half. Big Lou approaching the ball and sailing it deep into the left side. It is taken on the 2-yard line, bobbled for a moment by Morrison. Now he comes up over the 10, into the 15, into about the 17-yard line. Morrison on the return, a 15-yard return, and the Browns really have their work cut out for them. Whether they will attempt to make some headway here with 53 seconds, and the clock is running, by the way, or whether they will wait and set their strategy in the second half is anybody's guess. But they do have the ball on their own 16-yard line right now with the clock running. Nelson has been unable to generate much offense, and here is a ball out to the left side, dropped by Leroy Kelly at about the 20-yard line. The ball delivered pretty well by the quarterback Nelson, but Kelly could not hang on.
Give you an idea of that Baltimore defense here in the first half with about 36 seconds of playing time remaining. The Cleveland Browns have been able to pick up 21 yards on the ground. As that front four of Bubba Smith and Billy Ray and Fred Miller and Ordell Brazy, along with that secondary, picking off 2 passes of Bill Nelson's, one by Richie Volk and the one by Curtis, which set up the touchdown.
Cleveland out strong to the right, dropping back is Nelson. The pass is completed to Haraway. Haraway across the 25 to the 30, down to the 32-yard line. The fullback on the catch, caught by the free safety Rick Volk. And with 29 seconds remaining, the Browns have their first down at their own 32-yard line on the 16-yard pass play. Well, normally, Leroy Kelly will have as many yards as the entire Cleveland team has right now, and maybe even inside of 1 quarter. Kelly, of course, the National Football League rushing champion with 248 carries in the regular season, 1,239 yards. That's an even average of 5 yards every time he carried the ball. He was also the NFL's top scorer with 16 touchdowns on the ground and another 4 in the air. Now Nelson at this point has thrown for 95 yards, has passed 17 times, and has completed 7 of his passes. Nelson took over in the 3rd game this season. They say he goes to secondary receivers very well. Today he has not been especially brilliant so far. 29 seconds left in the half. Nelson is back, and the ball is delivered, and it's complete at the 45-yard line. Again to Haraway, crosses midfield, goes to the Colts 45, and is down at the 42-yard line. Again by Rick Volk, the free safety. And this time Baltimore
It's an illegal call for procedure against the Cleveland Browns. Illegal procedure.
Sweetness!
That will nullify that one, and that's about the third time here in the first half that the Cleveland Browns have been called for illegal procedure. Twice for illegal procedure and once for delay of game that has cost them long yardage. So instead of that fine gain on the end of that pass play from Nelson to Haraway, the ball comes back now to the 27-yard line, where it remains first down and 15 to go.
Incidentally, Bob, Paul Warfield was shaken up on that play and has been taken out, and Tommy McDonald has come in to take his place.
As a young man who has been around for a while, 12 years, little Tommy McDonald, 5'9", 175, good hands and good moves, and he's very wide here to the left now.
The 5-yard penalty putting Cleveland back to the 27-yard line. Nelson putting the ball into the air and out to the 37, and it's incomplete, intended for Haraway, but he couldn't hang on to the ball. And we only have 16 seconds left in the first half. Mike Curtis was covering on that play. Baltimore, of course, has gone into a prevent defense. They have taken out lineman Billy Ray Smith, and they have brought in an extra defensive back, number 37, O.C. Austin, a rookie from Utah State. Ball still at Cleveland's 27-yard line.
Warfield has gone back in there again now, Andy, in place of Tommy McDonald.
At the Cleveland 27, second and 15 because of the penalty. Only one running back for the Browns, who obviously have to put the ball in the air, firing over the head of Kelly at the 30-yard line. Nelson could not find him at all that time. Kelly was open. He was being covered by Lenny Lyles and Rick Volk, but he was in front of them and open with an opportunity to grab the ball. How much additional yardage he would have made is up for question, but the quarterback could not find it. Now the clock shows 12 seconds, Bob Reynolds.
Ordell Brazy harrying Nelson a little bit on that one as the big defensive right end for the Colts came swarming in there. 12 seconds showing on the clock, that's all. 17-0 the score here, Baltimore leading. All of it coming in the second period after a seesaw first period in which there was no score and in which Baltimore was able to pick up 32 on the ground and Cleveland but 6.
Now the Browns again are in a definite passing situation. Firing out to Kelly on the left side. The screen develops. He goes to the 25, heading to his right at the 30, across the 35, and dumped just shy of the 40-yard line. Now the clock has been stopped again by the Browns, and the scoreboard clock here shows 2 seconds remaining in the half. Dennis Gaubitz, middle linebacker, brought Kelly down a yard shy of the Cleveland 40. The Browns did not make the first down. That's of little significance. They will not punt here, of course. I wouldn't think. 2 seconds showing on the clock. Some of the specialty teams started onto the field, Bob, and now they've come off again.
And Nelson waved them off. He said, with only 2 seconds, I'm not going to kick the football trailing 17-0. I'm going to put it in the air and go for that big one.
So, with that being the strategy, looks like it's going to be up for grabs, Bob.
That's what the Baltimore Colts defensively in a situation like this will do is obvious. They will keep probably only 3 men up front to put some kind of a rush on. Take one of the big defensive linemen out of there and substitute for him with another defensive halfback on the obvious passing situation. So we'll see how they line up defensively, and that's just about what they're going to do. They've got big Ordell Brazy and Miller and Ronnie Hilton up front.
That's right, just 3 in the forward rushing line. Nelson dropping back and way back, fires out to the left side where Kelly grabs the ball at the 36, heads for the sideline, crosses the 40, driven out of bounds at about the 43-yard line as the clock expires and the gun goes off. So there's the gun ending the first half with the score, Baltimore 17 and Cleveland nothing. As part of our statistics, we want to mention the fact that the Baltimore defense has been able to drop Bill Nelson twice for a loss of 20 yards trying to pass. Earl Morrall has gotten superlative protection from his blocking wall today, and Morrall has not been dropped at all.
To the right side now, left side rather, strong left. LaMonica on first down, dropping back under a pass rush. Gets the ball away for Warren Wells, who's playing the ball and has it. Billy Baird was playing the man. A flag goes down as a man jumped on top of him, Jim Hudson. It'll be 15 more yards. 2 minutes, 20 seconds to go. Bolitnikoff and Wells go to the right. Oakland does not give up. New York does not give up. This has been quite a championship football game. LaMonica calling signals. Looking to his right. Now passing behind Charlie Smith. They are saying that it is a lateral, and down the field goes the linebacker, Bob Baker, but it will be marked back at the 30-yard line. And instead of an Oakland score, by throwing the ball the way he did, LaMonica threw it behind Smith. It became a lateral, not a forward pass. It's New York's football. 2 seconds, 1 second, it's over. The Jets win and go to the Super Bowl. That's the end of the game. The final score, New York 27, Oakland 23.
Second half, roll 2. Cut it. Second half, jerk.
Now here to start the second half, Baltimore again will be in possession of the ball. It'll be Marv Upshaw, who is the kickoff man for Cleveland. Out over the ball for the first time today, he'll be kicking off. And Baltimore will be sending its deep men back to our left. Timmy Brown is one of them. He will be at the goal line to our left. And on the right side will be Preston Pearson. And so as we approach the second half, I'd like to call in one of the voices of the Detroit Lions, one of the fine broadcasters of the Midwest from Detroit. Here's Bob Reynolds.
Thank you very much, Andy. We're all set to go here to the second half of play of this championship game at Cleveland's Municipal Stadium. And to start the second half, Marvin Upshaw will kick off for the Cleveland Browns. Back in the deep spots for the Baltimore Colts, Timmy Brown, who was activated just yesterday, number 2, and Pearson Preston. And here's the boot, and the game is underway again. Pearson will grab it, takes it up to 2, up to the 5, the 10, the 15, breaks to the outside, and is hit hard at the 21-yard line, and dropped right there. Making the stop on him was Garlington. John Garlington, who plays on the specialty team. So the Baltimore Colts will put it in play. First down and 10 at their own 22-yard line. But a 20-yard return that time. In the backfield for the Baltimore Colts, the Earl Morrill at quarterback, Tom Matty and Jerry Hill are the setback. Willie Richardson split out wide to the right this time. Jimmy Orr to the left as Earl Morrill calls the signals. Hands it off to Matty on a quick overture. He gets up to about the 25-yard line with it before Bob Matheson, the middle linebacker, makes the stop on him there. So a gain of about 3 on the play to bring up a second down and 7 for Baltimore at their own 25-yard line. 17-0 the score. The Baltimore Colts, 6-point favorites coming into the ball game, lead it by 17. Out of the huddle now come the Colts. They send Willie Richardson again wide to the right, Jimmy Orr to the left, the setback to Matty and Jerry Hill. Earl Morrill, the quarterback, underneath his center, Bill Curry, grabs the ball, struck straight back into the pocket, goes long and deep for Orr, and it is incomplete. Dale Lindsey almost tipped it, the linebacker on the right side, and so it goes incomplete and brings up a 3rd and 7 for Baltimore at their own 25-yard line.
It looked as though Cleveland was in zone defense that time, Bob, and it looked as though the quarterback and the receiver had different ideas of exactly how to split that zone.
Johnny Williams tried to come out of the field to go into that offensive line for Baltimore, but they sent him out of there. And the Cleveland crowd starting to roar now. It is 3rd and 7 for the Colts at their own 25-yard line as Morrill grabs the ball and drops straight back into the pocket. Going long and deep for Richardson. He can't hold it. Covering on the play was Eric Barnes. And so it brings up a kick situation now. And this crowd of 80,000 or more coming alive is pouring the Cleveland Browns to get back in it. They trail 17-0. And Dave Lee, who does the punting for the Baltimore Colts, is in there. And the Colts have not had to punt until right now in the ball game. So it'll be the first punt. And dropping back in the deep spot, Tommy McDonald along with Ben Davis. Lee waiting for the pass from center. Gets his pass and gets his kick away. And a fair catch, signal for Davis, down at the 40-yard line of the Cleveland Browns. And so the Browns, after that 35-yard kick, will put it in play first down and 10 at their own 40-yard line. Offensively for the Cleveland Browns, we got Paul Warfield who's the split end, Gary Collins the flanker, Bill Bourne is the tight end, Jeff Rath and Parker the tackle, Dickerson and DeMary the guards, and Freddie Hoagland at center. Nelson at quarterback, Kelly and Haraway the setback. First down at 10 for Cleveland at the 40. Nelson hands it off to Kelly, and Kelly goes to the outside, slips away from one man, fights his way up over the 45 to the 46-yard line. And it is Ordell Bracy, big number 81, along with Jerry Logan, who makes the tackle. And the official puts the ball down. We'll call it the 46, a gain of 6 on the play. Second down and 4.
If you've noticed, Bob, the crowd has really come to life in the second half. It's as though they're trying to do their part, whatever that could be, to inspire this Brown team, which needs a comeback, of course, to win this game trailing 17-0.
Second down and 4, the ball at the 46-yard line of the Cleveland Browns. As Bill Nelson calls the signals, gives it off to Haraway again, trying to go to the outside. It's caught and dropped just about at the line of scrimmage. We'll see how much yardage they give him. Getting up off the bottom of the pile is Don Shinnick, who made the initial stop, and they'll give the ball carrier to the 48-yard line. 2 yards, third down and 2 now. Third and 2 for Baltimore, for the Browns at their own 48-yard line. They trail the Baltimore Colts 17-0. Back in the huddle, out of it they come. They send Gary Collins wide to the right this time. Paul Warfield wide to the left. The setbacks are Haraway and Kelly. Nelson looking over the defense. Hands the ball off to Kelly again, over the right tackle spot, back inside, down into Baltimore territory to about the Baltimore 48, and Billy Ray Smith is the man who makes the tackle. It is a first down for the Cleveland Browns at the Baltimore 48.
Bob, early in the first half, we reported that Bubba Smith went to the sideline with a foot injury, it appeared. We should report that Bubba is back and playing again at his left defensive end position.
Kelly has carried 12 times now for 25 yards. It's first and 10 of the 48 of Baltimore. Nelson gives the ball to Kelly again. And he gets down to about the 45 for about 3. Making the stop on him as they untangle. Freddie Miller, number 76, along with Billy Ray Smith. So the officials put the ball just over the 45-yard line. Call up the 46, give him 2 yards on the play, second down and 8. Cleveland in possession. Second and 8 at the Baltimore 46-yard line. The crowd starts to yell again as Paul Warfield comes out as the split in wide to the left. Gary Collins to the right. The setbacks again, Kelly and Haraway. Nelson with it, dropping back a step or two. Firing quickly, he's got Collins with it. And Collins catches it at the 35 and is dumped around the 33 by Richie Vogt.
Come on, Shinny, get him going! What do you say?
13 yards and a first down now for the Browns who have it moving. First down and 10 at the Baltimore 33-yard line. 17-0 is the score here at Cleveland Municipal Stadium in this the National Football League.
Championship.
To the left. Gary Collins slid out a little to the right. Here's Nelson faking to screen and going back to throw, firing it out there, and it is so good. Intended for Collins. And Bobby Boyd covering on the play. So it just goes as a long incomplete pass, bring up a second down and 15 for the Browns at the Baltimore 38-yard line. We have 9 minutes and 53 seconds of playing time remaining here in the third quarter of play from Colts Municipal Stadium in Cleveland, Ohio, with the Baltimore Colts scoring 17 in the second period, leading it 17-0. To the victor of this one, $8,000 or $9,000 a man, and a shot for more in the Super Bowl 2 weeks from now. Out come the Browns. They send Warfield wide to the left, and Gary Collins is flanked out about 10 yards to the right. And the Baltimore defense shifts and adjusts as Nelson looks it over. And Ordell Brazy breaks through there, and the flag goes down. And we'll get illegal procedure called against the Browns. Browns making one of the linemen making one little bit of a move, and Ordell Brazy, the veteran that he is, taking advantage of it. And firing through there, making contact, and the call goes against the Browns. That's 6 penalties for 34 yards against the Cleveland Browns.
Bob, it looked like the tight end, Milt Morin, was the guy that moved that time. And it permitted Brazy to come across, drawing the penalty.
Brings up a second down and 20 now for the Browns at the 43-yard line of the Baltimore Colts. And again, Warfield is split wide to the left. Baltimore defense jammed in tight this time. Nelson going back. Pretty good protection. Going for the long and deep one to Gary Collins, and it is so good. Bobby Boyd there with him all the way. Nelson getting good protection, dropping back in the pocket and going the long one for Collins around the 5, and Boyd was with him. And so to bring up now a third down and 20 at the 43.
Well, that probably is the longest pass attempt that we have seen today for either side. Until now, the Browns hadn't necessarily gone for a real long gainer. Now, here's Tommy McDonald checking into the Browns' offensive attack. And coming out is Gary Collins, probably just to get a rest.
Nelson has thrown 24 times and completed 10 for 127 yards. He's had 2 interceptions. The ball now with a big 3rd and 20 at the 43 of the Baltimore Colts. An obvious passing situation.
Come on, Bo, get after it, baby!
Milt Morin, the tight end, is split out a little bit to the left, and Paul Warfield is also flanked way wide to the left, and Tommy McDonald on the right side. And back goes Nelson to throw, looking for somebody, going long and deep for Morin, and Morin can't quite hold it. He made a great attempt. Richie Volk was covering him all the way. And so the Baltimore defense equal to the task again here as the Cleveland Browns putting the pressure on from the opening kickoff here in the second half. Moved it down deeply, actually, to the 33-yard line before they were forced back to the 43, where it's now 4th down and 20 from the 43. Don Cockcroft will attempt a field goal here for the Browns from midfield. Will be a long one. The wind is not in favor of it. The 50-yard line, a flag goes down. The boot is long enough, and it is wide, however, to the right. Wide and to the right. And as we mentioned, a flag was thrown on the play, so we'll wait and see what the call is. It looks, according to Nelson, like it was against the Baltimore Colts. So the play situation was this: 4th and 20 at the 43. The penalty is being stepped off against the Baltimore Colts and put down at the 38-yard line of Baltimore. The official comes over, signals offside, and so all it does is to give Cockcroft another opportunity from 5 yards closer because it's 4th and 15. So he'll attempt one this time from the 45. The one from midfield was wide to the right. Here's his boot. Certainly long enough. And again, it is wide and also to the right. So 2 field goal attempts from the 50 and from the 45 on successive plays, neither of them any good. The Baltimore Colts will take over 1st and 10 at their own 20-yard line. There's time out on the field, but the Baltimore Colts moved in their offensive unit.
Well, Bob, he had 2 tries that time, did Cockcroft, and he couldn't cope with the wind either time. Sometimes you have to wonder whether it's good for a field goal kicker to have that extra time to think, as he did. But both of his boots sailed off wide to the right, so now it'll be Colts ball on their own 20-yard line. No return on either of those kicks because they went into the end zone. He got the distance, but he wasn't able to judge that wind properly. And so actually, even though the official statistics will only show 2 tries, Cockcroft has really tried 3 field goals today. None of them have been very close. He's tried them now from 42, 45, and 50 yards away, and the Browns have yet to put anything on the board. And the Baltimore Colts, who also have nothing offensively here in the second half, will have the ball for the second time. They did not record a first down the first time they had the ball, had to punt for the first time in the day. And once again, the Cleveland Browns fans trying to rally their defensive unit.
All right, here comes the Colts. Out over the ball goes Bill Curry there. Fine center from Georgia Tech. They have Willie Richardson wide to the right, Matty in the slot to the right. The ball handed off to Hill. Hill gets a great block and a great hole opening. He gets to the 30 and fights his way clear to the 31-yard line. But about 11 yards of the first down of the play. Jerry Hill again getting blocking from Dan Sullivan and Sam Ball to the right side. And it's Mike Howell who finally brings him down at the 31 after a gain of 11 yards. So it is first down and 10, Baltimore at their own 31-yard line. We have 9 minutes and 3 seconds of playing time remaining here in the third quarter, with the Baltimore Colts leading at 17-0. Out of the huddle they come. Over the ball goes Curry. Willie Richardson is the flanker wide to the right. Matty in the slot to the left side this time, and Hill is the only setback, and Morrow goes back. Throws it over the sidelines, intended for Jimmy Orr, and it's no good. Off his fingertips. Ben Davis over covering on the play, brings up a second down. Still 10 from the 31. Don't forget that CBS will bring you the Cotton Bowl on Wednesday from Dallas, the University of Texas, and the University of Tennessee. The playoff bowl from Miami next Sunday, and the Pro Bowl from Los Angeles' Coliseum on the 19th. Second down and 10, Baltimore at their own 31-yard line. And there's that formation again that they have not used only in this ball game, to the best of my knowledge. The fullback up close, the fake, and back goes Morrow to throw. Rolling out to the right, going long and deep, and no good. It was intended this time for Ray Perkins, who had replaced Jimmy Orr.
To Mackey in the backfield, and then threw long to Perkins. Jack Gregory was putting pressure on him from his right defensive end spot, and it's 3rd and 10 for Morrow.
And if Morrow had only known, Ben Davis, who was covering Perkins deep downfield, fell down. And if he could have just held the ball another split second, Perkins would have had a clear shot to the end zone. Perkins is out now, and Orr is back in.
But Gregory was after Morrow on the last one, so he had to get rid of it. The line of scrimmage remains the same, the 31, 3rd and 10. Matty is on the wing. The quickie is behind Jimmy Orr and past Ben Davis and Bob Matheson, the middle linebacker. So Cleveland forces Baltimore into a punting situation with David Lee into the game. He averaged 39.4 per kick. His longest was 59 yards. He's kicking into the wind now. And Tommy McDonald goes deep, along with Ben Davis. They're at their own 30. Lee gets it high in the air. Davis will return it from the 30. And did I see a flag go down? No, it did not. Baltimore gives the football to Cleveland on the punt. And Cleveland goes from their own 35. Beginning Saturday, the 11th of January, the 6th annual CBS Golf Classic gets underway. George Knudsen and Harold Henning meet the team of George Archer and Bob Lund in the opening match. $225,000 in prize money. Check your local program listings for the time in your area. The date is January 11th. Nelson giving to Haraway, and Fred Miller made the tackle. We have 7:55 remaining in the third quarter and the clock running. Charlie Haraway, the ball carrier, number 31. It's frustrating, Pat. You try to establish the ground game, nothing happens on a carry, and it really looks like a waste of time, but a simple play like that may pay off in future calls.
It can concern those defensive linemen, as we tried to point out a minute ago, with the fact that they've got to get ready for the run and not just rush the passer.
And now the fake to Haraway. Warfield in the open for a moment, and Rick Volk broke it up. Rick Volk stayed with him. He had help from behind from Jerry Logan. But Warfield, Pat, for just a brief moment, had a few steps on Volk, and there's a flag down back upfield.
You know, sometimes against the zone, here comes Warfield. It looks like a man is open, but he's just running into somebody else's zone. It appeared that he had a step on Volk, but Logan was coming over behind, as you probably saw. It's a penalty against Cleveland.
We haven't had the call as yet. The yardage being marked off against the Browns, and penalties have hurt the Browns.
This looks like holding.
Takes the ball back to the 17. And it is a holding call against the Browns. They've got to come out to the 45-yard line for a first down. So it's a second down play in 27. And you might watch for a blitz here. No flag, even though there was movement. Here's Haraway being blasted at the 20 by Lenny Lyles. That Lyles is about as tough a hitter as there is in the game. He'll make you pay for it when you run into his territory. The ball out to the 22 makes it third down and still long yardage. Fred Miller on that last play almost went offside but got back on.
You talk about Lyles. Lyles been around a long time. 6'2" and 204 he is. Has good size. He's playing 11 years now. He's from Louisville. But in spite of the fact that he's played a long time and obviously taken a lot of punishment, he still has that great speed that he came out of college with.
The ball at the 22. Third down and 22. Nelson is swarmed under and brought down by Ordell Bracey, number 81. Bracey fought off the block and still made the tackle.
It'll be Shafrath blocking on Bracey as Bracey gets to the passer. Shafrath, a fine tackle. Bracey, of course, another veteran who's been around a long time. And look at the strength he shows you right here as he gets away from Shafrath, runs into Hoagland, and finally, the four of them run into Nelson.
So it's fourth down, and Timmy Brown is the single safety man as Cockcroft does the punting. And a high kick carries to midfield, and Timmy Brown takes it at the Cleveland 48-yard line. We have 6:10 left in the third quarter. There's a timeout, and with the score, Baltimore 17 and Cleveland nothing. Let's pause for a moment. 6:10 left in the third quarter. Pat Summerall alongside. I'm Jack Buck. The score is 17-0, and Baltimore has the ball. First and 10 at the Cleveland 48. Jimmy Orr goes to the left. Matty goes on a wing left, and Richardson splits right. John Mackey, the tight end, is on the right side. And Jerry Hill carries. Following a block by Matty, cuts inside and gets inside the 45-yard line. Dale Lindsey, the outside linebacker, and Bob Matheson, number 56, the middle linebacker, both got there. Pat, the passing statistics are not very impressive, and I'm sure the cold weather has something to do with it.
Cold weather and the wind, I'm sure, too, Jack. Morrill is 7 out of 20 and 0 for 5 here in the second half. That ball is hard to hold on to and hard to throw on a day like this.
The ball is at the 44, second and 6 as Hill picked up 4 yards. Morrill on a draw to Hill. Hill is wrapped up and dropped. Kanicki along with Snido making the defensive play. It'll be a third down play. And into the game comes Tom Mitchell, replacing Jerry Hill for the Colts.
Which would very strongly indicate that Morrill is going to put the ball in the air. Third down and about 5.5, it appears to be. Mitchell and Mackey are right together on the right side with Richardson out of your picture at the bottom.
And the pass is caught by Mitchell, who just come into the game, and that's going to be a first down. Jack Gregory, the second-year man, number 81, was chasing Morrill.
And Morrill did a remarkable job as Cleveland was looping that time. That's Kanicki going to the outside, Gregory to the inside, and they didn't pick it up. Morrill does a good job to get away from this and still complete the pass.
And he hit it to Tom Mitchell, the rookie from Bucknell, for a first down at the Cleveland 37. Mitchell is now out of there. And Orr is back into the game, wide left. Here comes Matty in motion, and the end around to Mackey, and they smelled that one out. And Mackey is dropped for a loss. Well, the Browns were on the alert for that one. And Jack Gregory, whom we showed you pursuing a while ago, along with Dale Lindsay, the linebacker, brought Big John down on the far side of the field for a loss on the play of 6 yards. So second down and long yardage for the Colts. And this third quarter is rapidly slipping away from the Cleveland Browns, who trail 17-0. Second down, 16. The fake draw. Morrow throwing long for Richardson, battling Barnes. Barnes couldn't find it, and Richardson does. And it's first and goal from the 5. Barnes couldn't find the football.
Barnes had his back to the passer in the early part of this pass play. It's underthrown a little bit, and I think if it hadn't been underthrown, it probably would not have been complete. Barnes has him covered and has him covered well. And you can see the ball was thrown behind. Richardson stopped and came back, and Erich just couldn't stop soon enough.
And as Baltimore sets up first and goal from the 5-yard line, Tom Mitchell comes in, replacing Jimmy Orr. There was a penalty on that last play against Cleveland, and the penalty was, of course, declined by Baltimore. Baltimore, the Colts, trying to add to their 17-0 lead here. Tom Matty has scored twice in this game. A long count and a give to the second man through. Matty got about half the distance. Walter Johnson tackled it. Looped around from behind and tackled him, with Jack Gregory cracking in on the play. Cleveland sends in Bill Glass, number 80, and Marvin Upshaw, number 84, as it's second and goal from the 2. 2:35 remaining in the third quarter, and the clock running. Ed Richardson comes up with some big plays, Pat. He was the one who really hurt Minnesota last week.
A fantastic catch he made last week, diving between 2 men, and now he comes up with this one, which sets up Baltimore's field position right now.
Matty scores for the third time today. Tom Matty, following Glenn Ressler and others, Sam Ball, Bill Curry, Dan Sullivan, scores for the third time today, making it 23-0.
Watch Matty as he follows Jerry Hill and the rest of his offensive line. Ressler pulled behind, Hill with the key block up front, and Matty in good shape.
Now Bobby Boyd holds, and Lou Michaels will try to make it 24-0. With 2:17 left in the third quarter. Boyd gets it down, and Michaels gets it through. Baltimore 24, Cleveland 0. We'll be back with the Colts kickoff in just a moment.
Nobody took me right over the gosh darn top.
Listen more, Ben. Did you dive over or did you keep on running?
I just dove over. It was the biggest hole you ever seen.
That is Frank Ryan, number 13, who Bill Nelson replaced after the third game of this year. Nelson did an outstanding job, but it looks now like when Cleveland gets the ball after this kickoff, it will be the 11-year veteran from Rice, Frank Ryan.
And the kickoff is by Michaels. He is kicking to Morrison and Ben Davis. And it goes into the end zone. It's still alive. And then it's down by Morrison. Still a live ball when that little kid touched it. Here comes Ryan. Listen to the crowd. Ryan is a fellow whom the Cleveland crowd really got on during the year. And now they'll be rooting for him to try to do something about the 24-0 deficit with 2:08 remaining in the third quarter. First and 10. Cleveland at their own 20.
As we check how well Nelson did, he was 10 of 23, I believe. 10 of 26 for 126 yards.
So Ryan fumbles the ball, and Shinnick recovers. Ryan on the first play fumbled, and Don Shinnick recovered the football. And Baltimore goes from the 20-yard line. Well, that's one of the things that happens when you make a change like that. He missed the center snap.
Just a simple mistake like that puts Baltimore in position again to get on the scoreboard as Ryan and Hoagland just simply missed the exchange. There's Ryan.
And it would be easy to try to figure out his personal feelings at this moment. So you do things to try to change things, and other things happen. It's at the 20. Time is called as some debris is picked up off of the playing field. Some people had thrown some things onto the playing field, and the players are around in the end zone picking up the trash and throwing it out of the range of the football players. Hard to tell from up here just what has been thrown, but something that could hurt the players. So we'll get squared away and go from the 20-yard line. Meanwhile, I'd like to remind you again of the Mark Twain show to be seen Thursday on CBS. January 2nd at 7:30 Eastern Time, 6:30 Central Time. Hal Holbrook's Mark Twain, a great show for the entire family. Make sure that the kids see that one too. Matty starts in motion. They give it to him. He can throw, you know, but he's not going to. And he gets away from tacklers and picks up a couple of yards. He was looking for Richardson in the end zone, but Richardson had been double teamed. Remember the last time they ran that play, they gave it to Mackey on an end around in the opposite direction. Matty wanted to throw but couldn't, picked up 2, 2nd and 8.
Another good example of why they call Matty the garbage runner, because it looked like he was down for a loss. He couldn't find a receiver, and all of a sudden he picked up a couple of yards.
Matty's been in the league now 8 years, from Ohio State. Konecki comes off the field, defensive tackle for the Browns. And Marv Upshaw, number 84, is there in his stead. As Konecki is being treated along the sideline. Richardson's to the left side with Orr. And Morrow gives the ball to Hill. Hill inside the 10. Hill till about the 6-yard line, where it'll be first down and goal. And that Baltimore offensive line really ripping holes in the Cleveland defense, and they ran right at Upshaw, who had just come into the game.
It didn't take them long to check him out. They've got young men on that side, Cleveland does. Jack Gregory playing the right defensive end, and now Upshaw at right tackle. And as soon as they got situated, Baltimore went right at it.
It's at the 5, and it's first and goal to go. This will probably be the last play of the third quarter. 10 seconds left and the clock running. Mitchell is in there for Baltimore. There's Matty getting to the 3-yard line, and the gun sounds ending the third quarter. That's the end of the third quarter. With the score, Baltimore 24 and Cleveland nothing. We pause now for station identification. "15 minutes of football remaining here in Cleveland. Baltimore leading 24-0. Baltimore's ball, second and goal to go from the 3, and Tom Matty is closing in on a record.
Matty with 3 touchdowns has got 18 points. The record is 19 points in a championship game. That's by Paul Hornung of Green Bay in 1961 against the Giants. Hornung did it with 1 touchdown, 4 extra points, and 3 field goals.
And Matty has scored 3 touchdowns today, and Lou Michaels has kicked a 28-yard field goal. Wayne Malin is in there defensively for Cleveland as they set up this goal line stand. Earl Morrill had been to the sideline visiting with Don Shula. Tight T with the exception of Richardson, who's left. A long count and a keeper by Morrill, and no gain. It'll be third and goal, as they sent both Hill and Matty on the fake to the left, and Morrill tried to roll in there with it. It'll be a third down and goal. Quite a tangle of players inside the 5-yard line. The last to get up is Bob Bogle, number 72.
That appeared to be just a missed handoff. I don't believe it was designed for Morrill to carry the football. Looked like he was trying to give it to Matty, but Matty wasn't expecting it. By the way, as we're talking about Tom, he has tied a record for the most touchdowns scored in one game. 3. The record held by two Cleveland players, Otto Graham in 1954 and Gary Collins against Baltimore in 1964.
From 2.5 yards out, now Mackey splits to the outside, and Morrill throws for 6 to Mackey, and he's missed the ball. Jim Houston, the linebacker, was covering there, and the ball was nicely thrown by Morrill, but Mackey missed it, and now a field goal situation. 4th and goal from 2.5.
Houston just barely gets a hand up, and I think obstructs Mackey's view so that he can't see the ball coming. I don't believe Houston really hit it. Mackey is open early.
So Houston took one swipe at it, and then Mackey missed it. Boyd holding, and Lou Michaels trying to kick his second field goal of the game from the 10. And he makes it good. So the score amounts to 27-0 in favor of the Colts. Well, this was the score when Cleveland beat Baltimore in 1964. By the way, the Baltimore Colts band is on hand, and there aren't many Baltimore rooters in this huge stadium, but the Baltimore band has been whooping it up. They made the trip over here, and they see their Chargers out in front 27-0. Tommy McDonald goes deep on the goal line. He's the one with no sweatshirt on underneath. And Reese Morrison, number 26, is closest to her. Is Ed Davis? That is Ben Davis at the top of the screen. I thought it was McDonald in there. Here's Michaels kicking off with 14:05 remaining in the game. Waiting for the referee's signal to go. There's the whistle from the end zone. And Michaels kicks a line drive that Davis handles at the 3, 10, 15. And again, that good coverage by Baltimore. They seem to do everything right, and they continue to do it, Pat. This is a team that makes very few mistakes.
Very few, not only on their offense and defense unit, but on their special teams as well. That time again, it was Preston Pearson who was down leading the charge.
The crowd reacts as Frank Ryan goes in to quarterback the Browns from the 18-yard line. $27-0 Baltimore. 13:34 remaining in the game. Ryan to the air for the first time. A flag is thrown, and Ryan throws the long one for Warfield. Interference. But there's a flag back at the line of scrimmage. Lenny Lyles collided with Warfield, but they're coming back the other way.
No doubt about it either, as Lyles is protesting, but you could see him collide right there with Warfield as Warfield made a slight outside move, but it's going to be called back.
The line of scrimmage was the 18. A flag was thrown as Ryan dropped back. Infraction is against Cleveland. Penalties have really hurt them today, not so much in total yardage, but they have come at very inopportune times.
Very key situations. Cleveland's had some first downs that have been called back, and they've taken them out of field goal range a couple of times, too.
It was backfield in motion against Cleveland. And the penalty was accepted. Ernie Green is in there now at fullback, number 48, for the Browns with Leroy Kelly.
We must have had offsetting penalties on that last play, Jack, because it's still 1st and 10.
Right you are. Here's the pass to Morin, crossing the 25-yard line. On the pitch from Ryan with Mike Curtis, the first to get to him, and Rick Volk and Dennis Galbatz also in on the action. So there were offsetting penalties on our last action. So now it's 2nd down and 1. Clock is running. We have exactly 13 minutes remaining. Ball out to the 27-yard line. Ernie Green, by the way, is a good pass receiver. He's in the pattern. And Ryan is dumped. The whistle hasn't blown. Kelly picked up the football, and Boyd gets him from behind. And Kelly is down for a loss on the play. Ordell Bracey was the first man to hammer Frank Ryan. Shook the ball loose, a fumble, and Kelly picked it up and got back to the 21.
You'll see Bracey hit Ryan Ryan looking downfield, looking first for Collins and looking then to go to the safety valve receiver. He didn't quite have possession of the ball as Brazy hit him in the back first. Kelly picks it up and probably wishes he didn't.
He had Bobby Boyd looking right at him. And so it's 3rd down and 6 now. An important play for Cleveland. Ryan straight back. Morin caught the football, and that's a first down. With Bobby Boyd on top of him, Milt Morin hauled it in. 11:40 remaining in the game. Cleveland's ball at their own 32. There's no scoring in the first quarter, and then Baltimore got 17 points in the second quarter. 7 in the third, and a field goal here in the fourth period. Ryan throws a pass that is deflected and incomplete. On New Year's Day, which is Wednesday, CBS will bring you the Cotton Bowl game, Texas and Tennessee at 1:45 Eastern Time, live and in color on CBS. And Pat, they're talking about that big Texas offense, a great backfield against a stout Tennessee defense.
Tennessee also has got some outstanding offensive weapons. It's always an interesting game. Texas has an outstanding bowl record, as you know.
And on the other hand, Tennessee hasn't done too well in the bowls, but perhaps New Year's Day in the Cotton Bowl. You'll see it on CBS. Bubba Smith is out of there defensively for Baltimore with Roy Hilton replacing him. 2nd down play, 2nd and 10. Baltimore fakes the blitz, and the pass incomplete to Morin. They faked the blitz and went into a straight 4-man rush, and Don Shinnick was covering on the pass play. A 3rd down call coming up. Getting dark here at the stadium. The lights have been on from the outset. Temperature near the 20 mark. And the Colts lead the Browns 27-0. I imagine that some of the Jets are watching the game, Pat. Our congratulations to Weeb Eubank and the New York team.
I would imagine right in their locker room. They're still there watching on television.
Here's a 3rd down play, 3rd and 10. Green is the lone setback. Ryan is hit by Bracy once again. He wanted to throw, but Mike Curtis was covering the would-be receiver, who is Gary Collins. And Ordell Bracy made another hit, and Roy Hilton came along and helped keep Frank Ryan down back at the 25. And it's 4th down and 16. Cockcroft is in to punt, and Timmy Brown is back to receive. Brown has just been activated, and he replaced Gail Cogdill, who is not on the active roster for Baltimore. A high punt and a fair catch, and Timmy Brown fumbles it but fell on it. That's the 2nd time he's done it today, back at the 33-yard line. We have 10:46 remaining. There's a timeout, and with the score, Baltimore 27, Cleveland nothing. Let's pause for a moment. There's Don Shula along the sideline. His team, the Colts, out in front 27-0 with 10:46 remaining in the game. Earl Morrill at quarterback, 1st and 10 from his own 33. Morrill gives to Matty. Tried to get outside, came back inside, and had to work hard for a couple of yards. Well, it's unusual when you have Baltimore in a championship game, Pat, that we haven't been able to mention Johnny Unitas since the game started. It's been Morrill all the way.
But I'm sure that Unitas, as he stands on the sideline, looking at what's taking place on the field, has been a great help to Morrill. In fact, every time you talk to Earl, that's the first thing he says, is that Unitas has helped him so much. And his theories of how to attack a defense and just about evaluating Baltimore's personnel as well. You can imagine now that Baltimore will stay on the ground as much as they can without losing momentum.
Matty picked up 3 and picks up additional yardage, and he bangs to the 45-yard line, and that's going to be a first down, with Dale Lindsey making the final stop for Cleveland, and then Matty is having some kind of a running day. Matty a little bit slow in getting up, And he heads for the sideline. And down to his knees he goes. And Matty is hurting. Tom Matty, belted on that last tackle, is down on the sideline and being tended to, and we'll get word as soon as we can with regard to the apparent injury.
We can tell you that he's carried 16 times for 86 yards as he departs.
First down from the 45. Here's Morrow with the inside handoff to Hill, who gets 5. Bill Glass, number 80, stopped him. 9:10 left in the game. Actually, Hill got to the 49, so it'll be 2nd and 6.
This is quite in contrast to the Baltimore attack we saw last week against Minnesota. They had great difficulty running against the Vikings and had to resort to almost strictly a passing attack. The field conditions could have had something to do with it. Today, they haven't been able to throw it that well, but the running attack has been getting the yards for them.
2nd and 6. There's Timmy Brown, who replaced Matty, getting down to the Cleveland 46-yard line. Along the sideline, Johnny Unitas. He's pretty happy about the whole thing as the Colts lead 27-0. A great guy.
And without doubt, a great quarterback.
We pause 5 seconds for station identification. Third down and a yard for the Colts, and Tom Mitchell is in at tight end along with John Mackey. Hill and Brown in the backfield. And the fake to Brown, 3rd down, the pass to Richardson. He caught the ball. Barnes brings him down inside the 20-yard line. And shades of Unitas and Bart Starr with the 3rd down call by Earl Morrow.
Just sort of had a feeling that he was going to fake the run and throw to Richardson, who was wide open early, but Barnes made a great recovery to even get over close to him by the time he caught the ball. First down.
Tom Matty along the sideline is no longer down on the deck. He's up on his feet and being treated.
Who got me?
I like to know. I know who got you, man.
It's back right here. Right here is where it hurts.
And it's, well, I don't even want to guess, but it appears it might be a jaw injury or something of the sort to the upper torso.
Don't get that on print, please.
We'll check it out for you further. The ball's on the 19. Jimmy Orr is back in there for Baltimore. He's to the left side. And Jerry Hill bangs to the vicinity of the 15-yard line with Marv Upshaw, number 84, and Bill Glass, number 80, stopping him. And the clock is now telling a story against Cleveland. 7 minutes remaining. New York defeated Oakland for the American Football League Championship 27-23. So they're in the Super Bowl on the 12th of January. And this game will determine their opponent. 2nd down and 7. Timmy Brown gained only a yard or so. Brown has been hampered all year with muscle pulls, and he's seen very little action. He just activated this week. Matheson made that tackle. Into the game for the first time now for Baltimore is Terry Cole at fullback, number 34. He replaces Jerry Hill. Cole's a rookie from Indiana, and he did a great job when Hill missed quite a few games because of a knee injury. 3rd and 6. Morrow looks for Cole, who had just come into the game. He caught the ball, and Bob Matheson hauled him down from behind. Again, another look at Tom Matty. And there is Tom, and he appears to have bounced back pretty well from the injury, whatever it was. It's a 4th down play now for the Colts. 4th and 4. And Lou Michaels attempts his 3rd field goal of the day.
This would also tie a championship game record of the most in one game, 3.
Bobby Boyd spots the ball. Flags are down, and the ball hits the upright. Now let's see what the flag is all about. If it's against Cleveland, it probably will be a first down. If it's against Baltimore, Cleveland will get the ball on the 20. It's going to be a first down for Baltimore. as the penalty is marked off against the Browns with 5:09 remaining. It was 4th and 4, and it takes the ball to the 8, 1st and goal, and here's the call. Offside and attempting to block the field goal.
We talked quite a bit about this Baltimore offensive unit, what an outstanding job they have done today, and indeed they have, but the Baltimore defense as well. You might recall during the regular season they had 3 shutouts, and in 10 of their 14 games they had allowed their opponents only 1 touchdown.
And they have a shutout going here. That's Cole running with the ball inside the 5-yard line to the 4. Terry Cole with Jim Houston, the linebacker on that outside, number 82, stopping it. Into the game on the line is John Williams, first-year man from Minnesota, number 75, offensively for Baltimore. Tom Mitchell into the game, Jimmy Orr out, and quite a few of the Colts seeing a lot of action. Tom Matty tells us up here he's all right. He was belted in the ribs and the wind knocked out of it, but Tom says he feels all right now, and that's good news. The ball's on the 4, and it's 2nd and goal. 4.5 minutes remaining in the game. Timmy Brown into the end zone. Timmy Brown, who knows how to find pay dirt even though he hasn't played much this year, danced in from 4 yards out.
And again, excellent blocking by the Baltimore offensive line. Let's take another look at Dan Sullivan as he will pull and come into your picture. Wrestler. Curry is the center, number 50. Here comes Wrestler 62 with a block on Walter Johnson. And Timmy Brown into the end zone behind another fine effort. John Williams, who just moved in at left tackle for Baltimore, also with a key block.
Boyd holding and Michaels kicking, trying to make it 34-0. Baltimore 34, Cleveland nothing, and back with the Baltimore kickoff in just a moment. There's Timmy Brown, who just scored the TD, his first of the year, to make it 34-0 here. He's a happy fellow.
He's another one who happened to be in the right place at the right time, as he was traded just before the year started for Alvin Heyman.
Morrison and Davis are deep, and the ball is taken by Morrison. He's at the 20-yard line, 25, 30, and a good return by Reese Morrison, the rookie from Southwest Texas. Now we have 4:02 left in the football game. And these will be long minutes for the Cleveland club, Pat.
And if you're a Cleveland fan, you should be encouraged by something we learned last night, something which surprised me very much, that next to the Atlanta Falcons, the average age of the Cleveland Browns is the youngest of any team in the NFL. And for a contending team as they are to be in a championship game as they are and still be next to the youngest team is very encouraging for the future, I think.
They're on their own 33 with a first down. Frank Ryan still in there at quarterback, and he wings it out here, and it is almost picked off by Charlie Stooks, number 47, who would have picked up 6 more quick points. Charlie Stooks, the second-year man from Maryland State, was right there and dropped the football as Baltimore puts in numerous personnel who had not played previously. We're looking at Frank Ryan and the Cleveland huddle. In there defensively for Baltimore, Sid Williams at outside linebacker, number 64. Roy Hilton at the left defensive end. Second down and 10 from their own 33 for Cleveland. And nothing doing on the running play to Ernie Green. We have 3:50 left in the game. Lou Michaels is in there playing at the line of scrimmage, which he hasn't done much this year, Pat.
But Lou has been a fine defensive lineman throughout his career. This is actually the second year that he's done very little but kick. He is a defensive end, and a good one for Pittsburgh, for the Rams, and for Baltimore.
A third down play, 3rd and 8 from the Cleveland 35. Ryan needs 8 yards, and the ball is batted up into the air by Hilton, number 85. And it's 4th down. And it stops the clock with 3:17 remaining. So Ryan has not had much more success, if as much, as Bill Nelson, who started the game for the Browns.
And if you're possibly wondering about one-sided victories, we are nowhere close. That is Don Shula, of course, the Baltimore coach, and the most successful of all of the active coaches in the NFL. And this year's NFL Coach of the Year. The most one-sided championship game, of course, was the famous 73-0 game, the Chicago Bears over the Washington Redskins.
Don Cockcroft kicking the football. Timmy Brown waiting for it, calls for a fair catch, and downs the ball at the Baltimore 31. With 3:08 left in the football game, and quite a few of the 80,000 fans heading for home on a cold day in Cleveland. The thermometer reading was not so tough. Didn't get below the 20 mark, but a lot of wind today made it uncomfortable. We have 2:55 remaining. Next Saturday, CBS begins its weekly National Hockey League telecast, continuing through the completion of the Stanley Cup playoffs. Here comes Timmy Brown, cutting back inside, getting out beyond the 35-yard line. With regard to our hockey telecast on CBS next Saturday, Chicago Blackhawks meet Montreal at 4 Eastern Time, live and in color, with Dan Kelly and Bill Mazur telling you the story. And there's Earl Morrill along the sideline. What a year he has had, Pat, with one more game to go.
Fantastic year. I can't tell if it's Unitas or a young Jim Ward who's the quarterback.
Jim Ward.
It is Ward, yes.
Number 16 is a second-year man from Gettysburg, 6'2", 195. He's had very little playing time, but he gets an opportunity, and now the 2-minute warning is being given to both benches. With the score, Baltimore 34 and Cleveland nothing. Let's pause for a moment. Baltimore's ball on their own 37. They lead 34-0, and Jim Ward is at quarterback. He gives the ball to Terry Cole. Cole crosses the 40-yard line, and Marvin Upshaw tackled him. Cleveland has all 3 of their timeouts remaining, but we don't know how anxious they'll be to stop the clock with the score 34-0 as it is. 1:45 left in the football game.
That's a Baltimore first down. And a couple more running plays, or 3 or 4, as long as that clock keeps running, is just exactly what Jim Ward and Baltimore would like to do. 1:30 left now.
If Cleveland doesn't stop the clock, Baltimore will not give up the football. Timmy Brown and Terry Cole are the setbacks for Baltimore. And a give to Timmy Brown. He follows Johnson, the guard, and gets only a couple of yards. Cornelius Johnson, number 61, was in your picture. First-year man from Virginia Union, one of the high draft choices of Baltimore. And now, with the clock running, we have exactly 1 minute remaining in this National Football League championship game from Cleveland. Baltimore led at halftime 17-0. In the American Football League, New York defeated Oakland for the title 27-23. Cleveland not stopping the clock. It continues. It's a second down play, 2nd and 8 from their own 43. Straight ahead is Cole. Cole drives beyond the 45-yard line, and that will be the last play of the game unless Cleveland stops the clock. Bob Matheson made that last tackle. Baltimore not anxious to run any more plays, and you can see the time remaining. They have 30 seconds between plays without drawing a penalty, and the gun sounds. The Baltimore Colts are the champions of the National Football League, and there is Don Shula, the winning coach. One of his good friends, one of his best friends in the business, is Blanton Collier, a wonderful gentleman who is the head coach of the Cleveland Browns, and the two shake hands at midfield. The final score was 34-0 as Baltimore won it convincingly. Just as Cleveland left no doubt when they defeated Dallas a week ago Saturday, Baltimore leaves no doubt here today, Pat.
Not at all. Baltimore, except for one brief flurry right after the start of the second half, had Cleveland completely in command. And there go the 1968 goalposts from Municipal Stadium in Cleveland.
Lou Michaels had 2 field goals. Tom Matte scored 3 touchdowns. Timmy Brown had the other. And certainly as we view fellows like Bill Glass, number 80, going off the field. Certainly in the Super Bowl on the 12th of January, the National Football League is going to be well represented in the persons of the Baltimore Colts, as they would have been had Cleveland won this game today.
Every time we have seen Baltimore this year, which has been quite a few, they've been able to take charge of things almost from the outset. That Super Bowl game also, Jack, presents a very interesting confrontation between Don Shula and the man who preceded him at Baltimore, Weeb Ewbank, now the head coach of the New York Jets.
We're going to be able to go right into the Baltimore Colts dressing room with our CBS cameras, and so you can view the post-game celebration, however hectic or non-hectic it turns out to be. We'll also have highlights of this game and highlights of the American Football League championship game as well with Tom Brookshire, your host. And 34-0. And as you view the scene on the field, Cleveland Browns fans, I'm sure, got a lot of enjoyment out of their football team this year, which won their Century Division title with their record of 10-4.
Now, this would be Baltimore's third NFL championship. They beat the Giants in 1958 in that famous sudden death game, 59, and now here in 1968.
Let's go down to Tom Brookshire in CBS Control.
All right, thank you very much. You people will, of course, know the score is 34-0. The Baltimore Colts completely overwhelming the Cleveland Browns. They used fantastic defense. A guy named Tom Matty, who, by the way, is from Shaw High School in Cleveland, but there won't be any ticker tape parade for Tom Matty in Cleveland tonight. 34-0. The Colts certainly the cream of the crop in the National Football League, and they will go in the Super Bowl against the amazing New York Jets with Broadway Joe Namath. That score this afternoon at Shea Stadium was 27-23. The Oakland Raiders, a fine, big football team that played the Green Bay Packers real well a year ago, but they couldn't handle the New York Jets this afternoon. Let's go to Shea Stadium and look at some of the highlights now as Joe Namath and company, the Jets, did beat the Oakland Raiders 27-23. In the first quarter now, you'll see Darryl LaMonica going across the middle to Fred Biletnikoff, his fine flanker, number 25. You'll see this on an isolated replay now as Biletnikoff actually curls up against the zone, hugs the ball a little bit, gets rid of Johnny Sample, and then goes into the end zone. Number 25 is dangerous, but this was a Jet day. The New York Jets won it. Joe Namath, Mr. Quarterback, in white shoes, bad knees, but a great right arm. Number 12, going deep for Don Maynard. An over-the-shoulder grab in the corner going away, and it's down inside the 10-yard line. That was a 40-yarder to the 12. Namath again, from rather a tight formation, gets in trouble by a pretty good linebacker rush, but puts the feet, plants them, and rifles the ball to Don Maynard for a 12-yard touchdown pass. As we said, the final score was the New York Jets 27, the Raiders 23. We're going to be in this dressing room just a little bit later on after Don Shula and Carol Rosenblum and the different Baltimore people have talked to this great football team. And, of course, when we get a chance, we'll barge our way in and try to find out, like you, the TV fan, what really happened and what really went on in that great Baltimore victory this afternoon. We do know one thing, though. The Jets will be waiting. And Miami for Super Bowl time, it will be the New York Jets and the tough Baltimore Colts. 34-0, the victors over the Cleveland Browns. And for you people that are Brown fans, and there are millions of you across the nation, don't feel sorry for this ball club. They hit, they never stopped, and they were gang tackling just as hard in the fourth period as they were in the first period. But simply a question of getting on the scoreboard, and this isn't the first time that a team hasn't been able to score on the Baltimore Colts. The Colts are tremendous on defense, and I think they make you pay just too terrific a price to get on that scoreboard. Actually, later on this evening, you're going to see quite a show here on CBS. It's going to be called the All-Pro Show, and we're going to take a look now at part of this. You'll be seeing at 6 o'clock. We'll be seeing that just a little bit later on. That's when Chuck, a fellow named Chuck Bednarik, talks to Charlton Heston about the great All-Pro football players that you've seen on CBS and, of course, on the NFL football field this season. They're putting up the stats right now. We can see that we can't go over there quite yet. The men are working, but Baltimore did have 22 first downs. Cleveland had but 12. And, of course, as soon as those are ready, we will be able to swing across. Let's go back upstairs for just a moment as we clear the air down here to Jack Buck.
And checking a scoring summary, we had a scoreless first period in this football game. with a tough defensive battle, and the Browns carrying on the very same momentum that they possessed a week ago when they defeated Dallas to win the Eastern Conference crown. But then in the second quarter, Lou Michaels kicked a field goal from 28 yards out for the first points of the game. Then Tom Matty scored the first of his 3 touchdowns from 1 foot out. Matty scored again from 11 yards out, and the score was 17-0 at halftime. Matty again scored from 2 yards out, and then Lou Michaels a 10-yard field goal, his second field goal of the day, and Timmy Brown had the honor of racking up the final TD. Well, Tom Brookshire referred to that all-pro show that's going to be coming along about 35 minutes from now, and this is what he was talking about with Charlton Heston hosting the show, and in this circumstance, visiting with Chuck Bednarik.
Interested, Chuck, from the point of view of your old position, just why is a good linebacker important to a team?
Well, Chuck, the core of any good football team is the defense. And the core of any defense is the linebacker. I don't think linebackers have straight noses. I think linebackers have crooked noses which cover their face. Oh, there's a lot of good-looking linebackers, but their noses will show that they're football players because you got to really stick your nose in at every play.
A linebacker only has to worry about everything. He has to range long distances to stop the play. He must have the cunning of a fortune teller and the speed and power of the backs he pursues.
A linebacker is the type of a kid who loves to hit. A person who probably, you take his heart out from here and you put it in his belly and you call it guts. A kid that just likes to mix it up on every play.
That's a little preview of the outstanding show you'll see at CBS this evening after we leave the Cleveland Stadium here, and we have a good deal more to show you, including a visit in the Baltimore Colts dressing room, where the scene should be a very, very bright one as the Colts go on to the Super Bowl against the New York Jets on the 12th of January. To do a little rehashing here, you'll recall it was October 20th when Cleveland defeated Baltimore in Baltimore by the score of 30-20. But then the Colts, using that particular loss for a springboard, went on to win 9 in a row, and then their drive was culminated here today as they won their 10th consecutive victory after vanquishing Minnesota in the contest 1 week ago in Baltimore. And for you Baltimore fans, we're sorry that you weren't able to be on hand here in Cleveland, although you wouldn't have been as comfortable as you've ever been in your life because it was windy and cold here, but we hope you enjoyed the telecast on CBS as you watched your Colts go on to the National Football League championship game. We have some statistics to show you, and you can see how the final score evolved as a result of these particular figures, with Baltimore leading in first downs, total yardage almost, more than doubling the figure of the Cleveland Browns, the rushing yardage, and you can see that Cleveland did very little despite the fact they had the great Leroy Kelly who led the National Football League in rushing this year. Cleveland gained only 56 yards overall. They had to go through the air to make most of their yardage, 117 to 169. They almost matched Baltimore in that particular department. But look at the passing figures. 11 out of 25 for Earl Morrall and 13 out of 32 for the combination of Bill Nelson, who started the game, and Frank Ryan, who then took over. And Baltimore did not have the ball that many more times than the Browns did. And the interceptions, I believe that particular figure is wrong because Mike Curtis intercepted one for Baltimore, as did Rick Bolk in the football game, and Ben Davis had one. I think the figures are reversed as Davis intercepted one for Cleveland. But Cleveland lost a big fumble, as did Baltimore, and that fumble by Cleveland was just when Frank Ryan came into the game, you'll recall. First play from scrimmage, he missed the center snap from Fred Hoagland, and it's indicative of some of the treacheries that come about as you try to shake things up in a football game. As Ryan and his center, whom he has worked with so many times, just didn't make connections on the snap, and then Baltimore went on in for another score, and it was about that time that the game got out of hand from the Cleveland Browns. During the game, we referred to the fact that Well, in fact, I used to live here in Cleveland, and I've known some of the sports excitement that prevailed here with the Rams before they went to Los Angeles. In other sports, it's a good hockey town, and they've had some great baseball years. But they tell me that this year was the greatest sports fever ever shown by the fandom here in the Cleveland area. They really took to the Browns for the way they went on after beating Baltimore 30-20, and the wonderful things that they accomplished with the winning of the Century Division crown, and then, of course, knocking off Dallas, which was a team heavily favored when they came into the game here 1 week ago yesterday. And this was the field where they defeated the Dallas Cowboys and left no doubt that on that particular day they were much better than the Dallas team. And in fact, they were so good that they had a good many people thinking that they were going to beat Baltimore here today, but it didn't turn out to be that way. This is Jack Buck reminding you to stay tuned as the NFL Today continues with Pro Football Report.
The NFL Championship was brought to you by Ford and your Ford dealer, the place to go to see what's going on. And by New York Life Insurance Company and your local New York Life agent. And by the American Oil Company and its dealers who remind you that you expect more from American and you get it. And by Winston Filter Cigarettes. Winston tastes good like a cigarette should. And now the NFL Today continues with Pro Football Report.
Tom Brookshire. I am in the Baltimore dressing room, and a lot of people might have thought the Baltimore Colts were very confident, maybe even a little smug coming in. They wouldn't be very happy to have this great championship under their belt. But as you can hear, they are extremely happy. There's a lot of backslapping going on, and this is a great football team's great dressing room. They're very happy to have won the National Football League title, and they can't wait to get at the New York Jets and Mr. Joe Namath. We'll be back in just a moment here in this Baltimore dressing room as the NFL Today continues on Pro Football Report.
They want to make a sort of announcement.
The final score was 34-0. On my right, I have Earl Morrall, certainly the Duke of Baltimore, the great quarterback that's come on to do such a great job for the Baltimore Colts, and Tom Matty, whom we're going to get to in just a minute. But Earl, after 13 years, and I'm not going to say knocking around because you were always an excellent quarterback, but surely you did find the place, the Baltimore place, huh?
Yes, it's true, Tom. It's a great team to be with. Coaches, everybody is just tremendous. I think you just can't compliment them enough. And I'm just happy to be here, really. 13 years, 13 is supposed to be unlucky, but this has been the luckiest for me, I can say that.
Earl, I think one of the most deceptive things about your ball club, and I'm going to accuse Don Shula of this later, is that he keeps letting people say you can't move the ball on the ground and you don't have a good running game. And yet this fellow to your right scored 3 touchdowns, had over 80 yards rushing, and actually you came in with over a 4-yard average per running back. So you do move the ball on the ground pretty well, don't you?
Well, I talked to him before I come down and told him a little bit about running, but not really. He's a worker. He just keeps working at it, scrambling, and he did some fancy stepping out there in the one. He went out and back out to the corner and made the touchdown. You can't. These runners, both of them, Jerry Hill, Tom Matty, they do a tremendous job. One blocks for the other, get a little crack, and he'll pick up some yards for you. That's the most valuable player, Earl Morrall, and Tom Matty, who might be the most valuable player in this game. Tommy, you're from Cleveland.
Right.
I don't think the people downtown would be too happy with you today.
Not particularly right now, but the one thing I do want to say, Tom, is that our offensive line did just a fantastic job, and Jerry Hill back in there, fullback from good old Wyoming, just blew them out today, and our offensive running game was just fantastic, and it's all through the credit of a great coaching staff and a great team.
Were you badly hurt when they hauled you out?
Well, I don't really know yet. I'm going to have to get some x-rays on my back, and we'll see what happens. But I got a good shot in the back, and it's pretty sore right now.
All right, Tom Matty. Earl, let's stick around for just a minute and roll some of these highlights. And I thought you went to a lot of quick draw stuff against Cleveland, like you might have been anticipating a big over-rush by them.
Well, their front four is big, and I was expecting a lot of pressure from them. We went to that's a quick down and in pattern to Jimmy Orr. Tried it a little bit later and a little behind him. I missed him on it. Just another one here.
It's a double wing. Now, notice you did a flip-flop. You put both Richardson and Orr on one side and Mackey all by himself at times, too, huh?
Yes, this is true. We did a lot of that. We were having success, so we stuck with it. That one I hit Willie Richardson there. He made a good catch on it.
You fake the draw just to get him off your back?
Just as trying to slow the line down a little bit. Willie makes a great catch there. He did it last week for us, and he did it again today. Come up with that clutch catch, the one that you need to get you down the goal line, and can't say enough. He comes up with it.
Earl, we're going to have John Unitas just mentioned, too. This is your year, the MVP year, everything. You're the NFL's best football player this year, but for a dozen years, John Unitas has been quite a player, hasn't he?
He has been tremendous. I've seen him play. I know what he can do, and he's tops in my book. All I can say, all year long, he's been tremendous, helping me out where he can. We talk quite a bit on the sidelines. We talk formations. He's a great individual. He'll do anything he can. He did all he can to help the team, and I know without his injury, he'd have been playing a lot of ball. So I can't say enough about him. He is tremendous.
Earl, are you getting ready, and are you looking forward to, of course, the money doesn't look bad going down to the Super Bowl, but how about the New York Jets? Do you like to team up against Joe Namath?
Oh, yeah. You might as well play the best, and I think they got one of the top teams over there. And being in New York for a few years with Joe Namath, hearing a lot about him, I'm anxious to go down and play against him.
Our congratulations and our thanks to both of you, Tom Matty and, of course, Earl Morrill, for coming by. Tom Matty, thank you for coming by.
Thank you
You're
very
coming
much.
back in just a moment.
Right.
I've just been informed.
That's right.
We'll be back now with more in this Cleveland and Baltimore dressing room in just a moment as the NFL Today continues.
Go, Johnny.
On my right is Tom Matty, the fine all-around garbage ball carrier. That's what Pat Summerall called you. He said you just get away with murder. And on my left, one of the great flankers that's really come into his own the past 2 years, Willie Richardson. Willie, Erich Barnes is tough man-to-man, and it looked like you and he had 4 or 5 head-to-head confrontations, and I guess Erich gives you a pretty tough day.
Yes, he did. He did, Tom. He kind of played like I thought he would play. On the first half, I had a pattern that I could have beaten him on, but I flipped down. I couldn't get up. But we worked a few patterns out, and Earl was throwing the ball very good, and I got open a couple times.
Willie, you're going to go against Johnny Sample. Now, I know John Sample, and so do you. You're going to run into another tough nut in that Super Bowl, aren't you?
I tell you, the only difference between Johnny Sample and Erich Barnes is that I think Johnny talks a little more. He's a good ball player. I played against him when he was at Washington. I have a lot of respect for him, and the only thing I can say, it should be a good contest.
Willie, this football team you play on, what a super bunch of football players, huh?
Well, there's no question about that. We don't have many individual stars, as you know, but I think it's a team effort. All the guys are sticking close together, and everybody's pulling for everybody else, even the guys who are not playing regularly. And I think this is the difference in this club this year, because everybody's all out.
How about your end coach, one of the real fast, adept guys at getting away from people, Dick Bielski? Did he teach you a lot? Does he work with you?
Dick Bielski has done a tremendous job with John Mackey and myself, and even Tom Mitchell, Jimmy Orr, Ray Perkins. He's done a great job. He played in the league himself, and he knows the moves, and the only thing I can do is do what he tells me to do, and I'll get open.
Willie Richardson, number 87, as we said, the Pro Bowl flanker last year, and Willie, you're heading back again, aren't you?
That's right.
All right, let's go now to Bill Nelson and Pat Summerall.
Well, I think this has to be a sad occasion, of course, for Bill Nelson, but I think if you look back at the kind of year he's had and the Browns have had, certainly it's a sadness that won't last throughout the year, at least. It's one that you'll remember, though, Bill, I think a long time, won't you?
Pat, I'm afraid so. I just hope we learned an awful lot today.
What do you think, quickly, what is your appraisal now that you've had 2 chances to look at the Baltimore Colts? What do you think of them as a football team? Obviously, they're a fine team.
Tremendous football team. They play football together and hustle all the time. This was a big difference in our game today. I don't think we had that real drive out there today. Of course, some things happened to us, but Baltimore played a tremendous football game. They just play together, which does an awful lot for them.
Did they do anything that you did not expect?
Not really. They used a lot less zone for me. I kept calling those zone patterns, and they kept playing man for man, and so this is the only thing they did a little different on us.
What do you think, as you look at the Cleveland Brown team? We made the point during the telecast today that this is, next to Atlanta, the youngest team in the league. What do you see as the future for the Cleveland Browns now?
Well, as it is the second youngest team, we hope it's a tremendous future. We have some age at different positions, but I'm sure everybody will be back, and then they'll probably get people to help. But we have a team that I especially think our defensive team that just played together all year and did a tremendous job, which gave us the ball all year. will improve that much more, and our offense will do the same.
What about the Colts and their chances, whatever your evaluation might be of the chances that the Colts would have against the New York Jets, who, as you probably know, won the AFL championship?
Well, I saw that, Pat. I don't know anything about New York. I have no idea. I know that Baltimore is the finest team in the NFL. They proved it. I'm sure that they'll do the job. I can't really evaluate either way, but Baltimore has a tremendous football team, and I'm sure they'll win the game.
Let me ask you this. Coach Collier, in his post-game comments just a minute ago, made the point that it seemed that Baltimore was up, they were high, and for some reason the Browns, Cleveland, were not very high. How does that happen? Does anybody know? Do you know? Do you have any idea how a team could not be up for a championship game, or could one team could be higher than another?
Well, you could maybe ask Dallas that the same last week. This is the same thing. I don't know if we had the feeling, well, our big game was last week, and now we're just coming here this week, and we expected to do the same job, and we didn't get prepared the same way. There are many ifs, ands, and whats about it. We don't really know, and we're sorry that we played so poorly, but we'll be back to prove ourselves next year.
Bill, may I personally thank you very much for this inconvenience coming in here. I know you didn't feel like doing it, but let me also say thank you very much and congratulations on a good year.
Thank you, Pat.
Now let's go back to Tom Brookshire.
All right, and Billy Nelson was a very fine quarterback, and I know in the first ball game it was 30-20, and you really did worry about this Cleveland ball club then, didn't you?
Well, we have a lot of respect for him, Tom, and we still do. I think it's a fine ball club. It's been a fine ball club all season. I think they really picked up towards the end of the season. They started off, and I think they got on their winning ways when they started playing us. And we had quite a bit of making up to do for 64, and then this year they did spoil our record. And I really felt that our team was ready today. It was a great, hard-hitting football game out there, and I have nothing but respect for them. And the only thing that I'd like to say, we have all our wives and friends are back in Baltimore, and there's going to be a little get-together for the wives and the players at Bobby's place in the back room, and they'd like to rope it off, I think.
You might have about 15 million people showing
up.
Well,
I'll tell you what, we're real pleased with everything that we did today. Our coaching staff did a great job. Our offense did, and our defense. I believe it's their fourth shutout. And when you have 4 shutouts in one season, that's something fantastic. I believe one of the reporters told me that's the first time that the Browns have ever been shut out.
That's tremendous. Let's roll some of the highlights about, I guess it would be Tom Matty Day if you were here at Municipal Stadium. And Tom, just look up at the monitor and read off what you see about yourself, and I guess you won't be too unhappy. It looks like a slow motion job.
I think this was our first play. This is what we call a lag play. It's like a sort of a delayed rollout draw where I just pick my own hole, and we pick up about 10 yards here. Our line just was fantastic today.
You're talking about Vogel and Ball.
Oh, yeah. Sullivan, Wrestler, Bill Curry. Here's a screen over here. This was in the first series. We break down the sideline. I pick up a first down on this, and you could see the people that we had out in front. We were very aggressive today, and we were very proud. Here's a sweep. Cuts back in, jump over somebody, and pick up another first down.
Wrestler again took you off.
Wrestler
that
and
right
Sullivan, these guards pulled out today like they've never pulled out. They just did a great job. And here's one of the scores. We go in for a touchdown. It's a quick hitter up the middle.
Here's a slow motion shot now, and
here's the other touchdown. It was a 37 trap. Now you can watch our line go in there and just cut them down.
Got a good block by Jerry Hill.
You're darn right, Jerry. You just can't say enough about Jerry Hill. This guy is one of the greatest competitors you ever want to see. And I put a move on one of the guys, broke to the corner, and got in there. I was really, it's just great to feel it.
Tommy, are you deceptively fast? What do you have going for you? Something's up.
I'm not deceptively fast by no means. I have average speed. I consider myself an average back, but when you play with a team like this, it's just great to be able to get in there and play with them. I don't consider myself a superstar, Tom. I just consider myself going in there and trying to do the job the best I can. And with a team like we have and a coaching staff that we have, I really feel that you just got to give it your all the time.
Tom Matty, number 41, and he gave it his all this afternoon. We'll be back now with more here in this Baltimore dressing room in just a moment as the NFL Today continues with Pro Football Report. Don Shula from John Carroll to the secondaries of the NFL to the top of the NFL, really, as the great coach of the Colts, is a long way to go.
Well, the only thing I can say is that I'm just so proud of our football team and our coaching staff and everybody connected with our organization, from Carol Rosenblum, our owner, on down. And this didn't happen out there. It was a lot of hard work, a lot of frustration through the years. I think that our football team, since I've been here, has been disappointed more than any other football team has. We've played well, yet we've never reaped the harvest, and today is a day that we're going to relax and enjoy it a little bit. And I just think that we deserve to win. We've played well all year long, and today was the climax.
Don, Billy Nelson bought his offensive line steaks last week to get him to block. Are you going to buy this entire ball club champagne and steaks?
Yeah, we've got a little something planned tonight, and we're going to do a little buying and relaxing and celebrating, and well, they certainly deserve it. But we still got our eye on one more ball game, and that's going to be the 12th down in Miami, and we're going to be thinking a little bit about that after tonight.
Don, what about a ball club now? Let's say you've had disappointments, and you have. You lose one last year, and you lose it all. You lose a playoff game to Green Bay once, and you lost it all. How do you get them back and started again the next season?
Well,
what do you
the thing
them?
that I've always stressed is that anybody that feels sorry for themselves and starts making excuses are losers, and we don't like to have losers around our winning people. And the thing that we've done is try to get it out of our mind. As soon as it's over with, last year it was tough when we got knocked out of it, but what good does it do you to moan and to bellyache about the thing? The only thing we try to do, our whole theme from training camp on, was to be better. And we wanted to be better than we were last year, and as it's turned out, we are better.
I remember last year at the Pro Bowl, I asked you what you needed, and you said just one more victory. That was
right.
All you wanted, right?
Yeah, we didn't win enough last year. We won a little bit more this year, and that's why we're here right now. And I'm just, again, so proud of our football players.
Don Sheila, you didn't do any alibiing. When it was the bad times, you took them in stride, and you did bring this ball club on, and I think that might be the reason that the entire nation is so darn proud of you.
Thank you, Tom. Thank you very much.
Don Sheila, the head coach of the Baltimore Colts, and a great one. Lenny Lyles, please. Mr. Lyles.
All right, Len, all right. Ready.
Keep the camera high. Had
Had
to get this fella in here. He was just accusing Don Shula of cutting his time on television.
Right.
And this is number 43, who plays the right corner, a spot that I am too familiar with.
You know about that, don't you?
Lenny, you were covering, I think, the toughest receiver right now in football, Paul Warfield, and you did a great job. But what did he give you?
Well, he didn't give me a lot today. He seemed to try to move inside. I expected him to go outside, but he tried to get inside moves. I got a little help out of my linebackers when he did come in, and I tried to stick to him a little bit closer this time. I felt like if I play him a little tougher on the slick field, I could probably handle him. And after I showed him that he wasn't going to have a great day, well, they seemed to cool off and start going to the other side. But I'm just thankful that I was able to be successful against him and hold him down a little bit.
Lenny, what do you tell Don Shinnick? You and 66 have to be pretty close. You're back there like two ships in the sea, passing one another, looking for receivers all the time. Do you talk to that linebacker a lot?
All the time. My success depends on Don. As you know, you've played in that back there, and if I can get Don to work outside when Paul wants to move outside, well, I can hang inside. And this time, it can kind of, we have him in the middle of us, and he can't do very much, and the passer will hold the ball up. This gives the line a chance to rush. But, of course, any successful pass defense is the rush of the line. But as you said, Don Shinnick is a vital part of my coverage. Without him, I probably couldn't do some of the things that I'm able to do.
Now it's on against guys like Don Maynard and Lamons and people like that. Lenny Lyles, good luck to you. They tell me you're faster now than when you broke in coming out of
Well, you know how it is with wine. You get better with age. But I'd like to say hello to everybody in Louisville, all my people there and everything. And we'll be looking forward to the Jets.
All right.
Thank you very much.
All right, thank you, Lenny.
Okay.
Our best at to and from, of course, Lenny Lyles. We'll be back now with more in the Baltimore dressing room in just a moment on the Pro Football Report. When you win 34-0, the defense has to do the job. And, gosh, Ordell Brazy's been doing this a long, I feel like we're almost brothers. Number 81, you've been playing 12 years. They say it might be your last, but let's don't put any words in your mouth.
I'll make that decision a little later there, Tommy. I haven't really come to it, and I'm not definite on it yet, but it's been a great season. You know, it'd be a great opportunity to bow out on top. And, you always kind of look forward to something like that. But, again, as I say, I'll make my decision a little later.
Ordell Brazy from the Dakotas, and let's roll some of the highlights. His great defensive highlights, and I've got to think the Baltimore defense is one of the best team defenses I've ever watched. Let's watch it now.
We have a lot of pride there. We feel that we're very aggressive. There are some things that...
Big rush right there.
Yeah, well, he held the ball. Of course, our receivers had a good coverage on that play.
Did you do a lot of looping today, Ordell?
Well, a little bit, but not a great deal. Of course, with that the condition the field was in, it was difficult to do that. So you had to go pretty much straight away. And
there's your running mate right there, Fred Miller.
Fred's a tremendous tackle to play next to. He's very mobile, and you can do a lot with him. He can run around. You see, he's got a good pass rush there. Plus, you can run a lot of games with him.
He plays like Alex Karras a little bit, doesn't he? Quick and...
Yeah, that's right. But he's quick, very strong against the runs also.
Ordell, is Nelson tough to get? He drops back awfully deep.
Well, I like a quarterback that'll drop back deep. It'll give you a chance to get after him, and you can take that wide rush outside, especially when you have the outside responsibility. A quarterback like Sonny Jurgensen, who just drops back shallow and pops it, it's difficult to rush.
Here's a long pass attempt as it is knocked away and well covered by Rick Volk, the young man that's done such a great job for you from Michigan. Huh?
Well, they all do a great job for us back there.
Ordell Brazy, number 81, thank you again, and don't cheat us out of some more good football. Stick around a while, will you?
Thank you very much, Tom.
Ordell Brazy, let's see. All right, let's see. We'll get somebody else here if we can. Bobby Boyd. Let's see if we can come up with somebody across the way. Jerry Kramer's over talking to Billy Ray Smith. Billy Ray? Mr. Rosenblum. Mr. Rosenblum, Billy Ray Smith. Carol Rosenblum, the owner, the very patient owner of the Baltimore Colts, will be coming over this way. And also Billy Ray Smith. If we can get Jimmy Orr across here, he's got a cigar. It weighs about 25 pounds. And Freddie Schuback Jr. sends his best regards to his father, of course, down in Philadelphia, where he was with the Eagles team. Mr. Rosenblum, this is another happy day. I saw you interviewed by Jack Whitaker. You were still a little bit cautious last week, but you're not cautious now.
Tom, you just have to be careful what you say, as you well know. You can't jinx a ball club. But, you know, really, this squad, as I said last week, is a real fine bunch of guys. And not only fine football players, they're fine men. I told Shula when he came, I thought this would be my last coach. And that's the way it looks like it's going to be. Just a fine young man, a fine coach. And I do want to say that last week we beat a great football team in the Vikings, and this week we beat a great Cleveland team.
Yes, you did.
And you know, it's a funny thing. I'm sitting out there, and it's cold, and it's a horrible day, and the score got to be 24-zip, and the sun came out, and the birds sang, and the skies were blue, Tom.
And it got warm again.
And it got so warm, I just can't say enough about the ball club and how happy we were, and the good Lord has sure been good to us.
Carol Rosenblum, the owner of the Colts, and a gracious, gracious winner. Thank you very much.
Tom, it's nice to be with you.
All right, sir. On my right, the little slippery fella still gives him the little goat fake like this and slips around him. Jimmy Orr, and Jimmy put that big cigar up there. I don't know if you've got that thing behind you or not.
Most of us gone now, Brookie.
What's going to happen tonight in Baltimore? Is this just a big party time?
Well, that plane's going to be a party, too, I'm afraid, going back. But we're really going to celebrate because we've been close a number of times and never have been able to cash in. And it was getting awfully late in my career, and I did want to be on the championship team, and I certainly am happy about it.
Jimmy, let's say something about John Unitas. It might be a little bit of a heart-tugging year for John. You played with him a long time, didn't you?
Right, sure have. And, well, you know, you can't say anything, but John's the greatest, and it's too bad that he didn't have more to do with this ball club because he has taken us so far. He's been the Baltimore Colts since he's been here, but we have some other players that picked up the slack, and I think we always played a little harder when John wasn't there because we always leaned heavily on John when we got in a tight spot, and he usually came through for us. But it's unfortunate he wasn't able to be a little more instrumental in this ball club.
Jimmy, I notice that you go over now once in a while and you flank her right next to Willie Richardson, and this puts Mackey all by himself on more or less a weak side. This is a pretty good-looking formation.
Yeah, how would you like Mackey all by himself?
Well, thanks a lot. I'd like triple coverage and try to get some more linebackers.
Right. You need all the help you can get with John Mackey because he really is a horse.
You look forward to going against the Jets?
I sure do. Joe Namath, know him pretty well, and looking forward to going down there and see if we can't beat him.
All right, Jimmy Orr, the great flanker for the Colts, and this has to be one of the big days. We'll be back with more here in the Baltimore dressing room on the NFL Today as Pro Football Report continues. Well, jumping up here trying to flatten out his hair and everything is Bobby Boyd, number 40, one of the very fine cornerbacks. Bobby, briefly here, we got about 20 seconds. One of the big wins with one of the great teams. Have you been with a lot of them?
Well, it's the greatest since I've been here, Tommy. There's no question about it. I've been playing professional football and football all my life, and this is the first time I've been with a winner, and I'm just overjoyed, to tell you the truth.
Are you sort of sure of it, though? Did you come into this knowing that if you played your best, you would win or you could win?
Tom, we think if we play our best that we can play anyone, and I think today we did play our best, and you saw what happened.
Bobby, now it's on to the Super Bowl, the big check, and, of course, the wives will all love you back in Baltimore tonight, won't they?
We hope so, Tom.
Bobby Boyd out of Oklahoma, and he's done a great job in the NFL secondaries for years. Good luck to you in the Pro Bowl. Well, that's pretty much the story here in the Baltimore dressing room. We've tried to give you a cross-section of the Baltimore team, and that pretty much is victory. They're big and they're strong. They're gracious today. They're very aggressive. And I really think they were very confident. I think they came into this town, Cleveland, Ohio, knowing that if they played their kind of football, they could win, and they did. 34-0, a great defensive win. The Colts are the NFL champions. This is Tom Brookshire for Pat Summerall and Jack Buck saying goodbye from Municipal Stadium in Cleveland, Ohio.
Pro Football Report was brought to you by your Lincoln Mercury dealer, with the winning idea cars that lead the way, and by John Hancock Mutual Life Insurance Company, and by Muriel Cigars, a product of Consolidated Cigar Corporation, a Gulf and Western company.